It's Type 40 Live, early edition of the live stream Doctor Who magazine show, starting the week in Geek across your view screen on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, talking all things Who from way, way back then, wherever and whatever it was that you stepped on the journey with, to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. And yes, the people have spoken, not those people, not for now. Anyway, I'm talking about the punters, the license fee payers. One way or another, they're paying their way on this trip the last 2 decades. And we've got all the results of that poll right here and right now. Keep together with the girls players. So we're here in the TARDIS console room. As always, whichever one we feel like. But this time, I think in light of the news, it had to be this one. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. We've got a lot to get stuck into on this edition of the show. The nights are a little bit brighter. I think somebody's been messing with my space-time continuum. How's yours getting on? So the nights are brighter. It's getting a little bit warmer. We're going to see how the others are finding it as well. We're live streaming, as always, to multiple platforms. Whoever you are, we'll find out in a few minutes too. So, start commenting by all means, if only it's to tell me to just get on with it, really. So I think I may have mentioned before how I love this console room when I first saw it. Gone off it a little bit of late, but I do try not to keep banging on about it. Little details here and there always meet my eye. And think, I've never noticed that before. That looks like a bit off an old 4 Cortina, that kind of thing. Probably best I don't know, isn't it? Probably best I don't know. I do know, however, who is due to fill up the console room with me on this edition of the show. First of all, I've said how the nights have got brighter. I seem to have lost an hour, but actually I feel like I've lost the whole of March. Anthony, how are you finding it? Do you any idea where March has gone?
I have no idea where March has gone. I have no idea, Dan, where most of this year has gone. But it's lovely to see the lighter evenings, isn't it? What a joy! And as you say, it's getting warmer. Nice. The daffodils are out. It's much nicer part of the year. As you go,
my daffs are out. All 8 of them are out. I've only ever had the 8. It's better than 3.
I've got some daffodils and tulips behind me, so I'm very ready for spring. And eagle-eyed viewers will notice I've changed the poster behind me from Moonraker to the Dalek movies. I really love this poster for the re-release last year. Was it the year before?
A couple of years ago now.
Yeah. So
fabulous.
I thought it's time for a change. Every month I change it over. So
I was going to ask what the rotation was.
Monthly, Dan. As we go into April Fool's Day and all of that tomorrow. So be on your guard, Dan, for April Fool's tomorrow. But I change it at the first of every month.
Oh, you see now, the only thing I can have as a segue to bring on Luke now is something about our resident April Fool, or every week, every month. Welcome back, Luke Walters.
Well, I love that. It's straight into daffodils. Let's go to the Welsh guy. That makes sense. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
It's one step away.
It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It's incredible. I love daffodils. Before everyone else starts about the Russell T Davies stuff, I'll do it out of the way. It's done. You've had your fill.
You come on with a leak next week, won't you?
I like leeks, obviously. Yeah, my missus really likes daffodils, and I'm just like, cool. I see them everywhere. They're really, there we go. There's one RTD. There we go. Hello, Stephen. Really sorry as well. T-Dog is praying mantis. Michael Sheen, I'll take Michael. His praying mantis passed away, so people's condolences.
Oh,
to him.
okay.
But yes. Yeah, I saw in the chat. But yeah, no, the Dalek invasion. No, that's the Daleks, isn't it? Not the Dalek invasion. I got the vinyl. I got the collection vinyl, the re-release one. I got that at Hooverville, actually. And then my missus, bless her, bought me the Dalek Invasion of Earth one for Christmas. So I had a great time. I love those movies. Absolutely fantastic. Hate that TARDIS, though.
And the music to those Dalek movies sounds great, doesn't it? No matter what you're playing on. I've got a vinyl, but I've also got the CD as well. I've got it on various different formats. Always sounds great.
Yeah. It's really. Obviously I got a vinyl player in my room, so I listen to it while I'm cleaning. So it's like the most dramatic cleaning I'm ever doing.
You know, I'm
So
amazed
bizarre.
there's not a record player somewhere in this. I suppose the Eighth Doctor had that. It's been missing in action ever since. I can't remember. Or did Matt Smith have a gramophone actually embedded into his console room, Charlotte? And does that count as a record player?
I think he had the top bit of one, like not where you put the vinyl, like the
trumpet. They just
trumpet.
commandeered the trumpet.
I was just thinking, what's the official name? I didn't know, but yeah, the trumpet bit. I'll go with that. Hello, everybody.
I don't think it is called the trumpet bit, but that's the nearest I can get to at this moment in time. I think our final panelist may be able to fill it in.
No.
Yeah, somebody out there will. They always do. Yes, so Luke's another one, not a fan of this console room. Charlotte, you know, I put it up because I'm trying to fall back in love with it. But you know, unless they put some scatters down or some rugs or something to make it look lived in now, yeah, I don't really want to know.
Yeah, I think we've all said this. It's too sparse. I think that's the word that comes to mind for me. And I said it when it first got revealed, oh, maybe they can do fun with lighting, and they've not really even done a lot of that. And I thought, because they've shown that they can change the colours of the like roundel type things. And I was like, actually, if you want like an atmospheric shot of your TARDIS being run down or something wrong with it, that would actually be interesting. But they've not even done that yet. So
it's a pity. It's a pity. Maybe they're trying to sort of watch their carbon footprint, Anthony. Maybe that's why they've sort of
maybe. I was going to say, Dan, that the photograph that you've got there is an interesting angle for that TARDIS console, because I'm not sure I particularly have recognised until you put that up a moment ago. I don't think I particularly recognised that there's lights and different colours and it sort of looks bright. Well, I actually had some interest, that photograph.
You know what, Anthony? It's nice to be appreciated, because I put my back out taking that before security dragged me away. They were very, very rough with me. But I did put in a claim, but I'm still waiting to hear how. But it was sort of worth it. We got some exclusive photographs.
But it's good though, isn't it? Dan, the photo you took is excellent, because it kind of gives some depth to that console, which I don't think we necessarily see on screen. I was going to say about the gramophone record player, there's a jukebox in that TARDIS console room that never gets used. It's just there, isn't it?
I think we saw him use it once in the first series. Was it like Space Babies or one of the earlier episodes?
I don't recall him trying it out, but
maybe not playing, but like looking, at least being near it and doing a bit of acting near it.
Maybe the chat can help us out. I don't remember that being used at all.
No, I remember him rubbing his bottom on it at one point or another in excitement at something that was going on. But to the best of my knowledge, it's not played a single tune. It was the assumption that any music that does get played, for example, Phil Collins, is emanating from that jukebox. I don't know. Let us know in the live chat there.
Or Kylie Minogue, knowing Shooty's Doctor.
It could well be. It could well be. Yes, so if we want to go deeper on all of these kind of matters, then I think it's only right we bring in a professional. He's a statistician. He's a proper, actual broadcaster too. You might have heard him on some of our Type 40 extra videos and little bits and bobs that we've been doing. This is first time on the live show itself. I'm happy to welcome back David Milling.
Hello, Dan, Anthony, Luke, Charlotte. Can I just say this is a great, a most indeed unexpected honour. You
look like, I'm just wondering where you are. You look like you're at Vision Express. You're getting at the opticians.
Hey, I actually did go for some an eye test last week, and I am blind. So I went with my good lady wife into a sort of, can I say, Boots, whereby she lives, and because she told me I needed a responsible adult with me to pick some glasses frames. And I now actually have picked a rather great pair of brainy specs. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll be able to wear them on our pre-recorded issues. So, yeah. So
Yeah, you'd be able to do
I'm
the
very,
Eric Morecambe thing where you sort of put it
Yeah.
from one side of your face to the other, do that, where push it up in front of you, all that up your nose, all that stuff.
the old that, and look down
Yeah.
over my spectacles
Oh.
in a sort of rather condescending manner to my children. So yes, so
Everything
just
has a
happy to be
potential for
Yeah.
comedy as being a prop when you're a dad.
Absolutely, and I didn't.
If I can't put it on my head, stick it up my nose, or
But
ram it
yes.
down my trousers, it's of no use to me
Yes.
as a father of four.
Absolutely,
quite
I'm walk around with trousers unfeasibly high, as well, and all those various different things that dads can do.
Exactly.
Before you get to the dad jokes, lovely to be here. Lovely to see you all as well.
Yes.
It's good to have you on the show, mate. So, yeah, just imagine what the next couple of hours is going to have in store after all that wisdom there, that bit of dadism delivered right to you. We're going to pull to open on even more, and you can join in with your comments there in the live chat too. Okay, first of all, I'm going to stay with this TARDIS because we have news, everybody. We have news. Now, Russell T. Davies, he's quite keen on using Instagram, and he posted this up a couple of days ago. Russell's quite excited. 2 weeks to go till the new series of Doctor Who, of course, and then Vorp, the famous sort of sign-off of the TARDIS from the Doctor Who magazine, Doctor Who Weekly comic strips, as it was then, Anthony. So we've got 2 weeks to go. Vorp, a load of hashtags, and what seems to be a new picture of him in the TARDIS. And Jane Tranter said underneath, looking good in that TARDIS, Russell. So it's all very cozy and very lovely, and there's Ruth Madeley and all these other people who've liked it and all that sort of thing. But, of course, there had been rumours that this console room had been uninstalled, hadn't there, at Bad Wolf Studios. So to see a brand new picture of Russell seemingly there at the time would seem to dispel that rumour. And somebody did ask him about it right away. Sherwood 28 stepped in to all those people who said that the set was going down. Russell, when was this taken? And although he doesn't confirm, in all fairness, when it was taken, it could have been 6 months ago, he does answer the question. It's still standing. People lie. And then there's a little sort of cartoon there of, looks like Simon Horton doing this. It's definitely not Russell T. Davies and a kiss. So
I'm telling him you said that. I'm telling him.
So apparently the TARDIS set is still standing after all. Your thoughts, Charlotte?
It does make sense, because I remember when all that stuff was floating around, and I thought if there's one thing that was still going to be kept, it will be the TARDIS, because they'll need it for if the next incarnation, for example, has to shoot their end of a certain scene. And that's what my logic was. This is the set they'll keep because they'll need it for continuity and for other reasons. Everything else didn't really need as much of a reason, and they probably could have scrapped a lot of the other sets, is my feeling, but this they had to keep. So I'm not surprised that this has sort of come out this picture now.
Because, Luke, this was a rumour that sort of came out of nowhere, out of left field, wasn't it? Around the time or just after the big article in The Sun that got everybody so excited, is that the right word? About 5 or 6 weeks ago, it seemed to trigger off a whole flurry of other sort of rumours of various tangents. And this was one, that the set was no more. Of course, sets get struck all the time on productions, don't they? And then put back up again. But that's one really big set. It took them something like 12 weeks to put it up, didn't it? So it seemed like if it was down, then that would be quite a big thing to have to do.
People lie, see, Dan. People lie. It's still standing. It's still standing, see. People lie. It's still going on. Doctor Who is coming back. Ncuti Gatwa is a beautiful human being. I don't know why I'm doing so much Russell today.
He loves it.
I'm so tired. I was asleep about an hour ago, and I was like, oh, God. I told you I went for a swim today. I've had a nice chill day. It kind of wore me out. I think it came at the time when Bad Wolf were saying, when they were like, oh, look, we have so much space here. And everyone's kind of like,
that's right.
Wait, what? And then obviously the articles come out and whatever. So it's very it's very much in the ethos that it could have been taken down. But it was the same thing when Jodie's when Jodie regenerated. It's like they were like, oh, there was all is she going to regenerate in the TARDIS or whatever, and blah blah blah. And I knew that she wasn't, because my mate had a bit of it in his house. So I was like, well, that TARDIS does not exist anymore. He had one of the big roundel things. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, no, hopefully, Russell is a liar. So you never know.
I know someone who got a piece of that well before as well. I wonder if it's the same. It could be the same someone. I don't know. But yes, I mean, the thing is, the cynical side of us, and some people out there watching may say, oh, yeah, well, he would say that, wouldn't he? Is this something that Russell T Davies would lie about, do you think, Anthony?
No, I don't think so. I think it seems quite genuine. I'm not sure where the Instagram post came from, in the sense of, Russell puts up a picture and Jane Chanter says, "Oh, great photo, Russell." That seems a little bit staged for him to then reply to somebody and say people lie.
I hadn't thought of that.
So I kind of felt that was a bit staged. But where did this story come from? This is with Ncuti in front of a kind of supposed backdrop? Is that right? Is this where this whole tale came from?
Well, this came out a couple of weeks later, so this really did add fuel to the fire.
Yes,
when several people out there in the fandom realised that on this introductory sort of speech to the first trailer, Verada and Ncuti are clearly stood in front of some sort of giant printout.
I mean, that printout looks great. It looks really moody and contrasty, and I was like, oh, that looks fantastic. So,
what Charlotte wanted, wasn't
it? Yeah.
That's exactly what we all wanted. So that added fuel to the fire, I think, Anthony. That was the problem.
Yes.
And so it looked like what was just a pretty wild rumour. It's like, oh, well, maybe, but I suppose the truth of the matter is, if Russell has said that, it's not as if it's a dirty grey lie. It would only be a white lie. It's nothing nefarious, and at the end of the day, it's still none of our business, is it? But I don't think that he would lie about it either.
No, I don't think he would lie about it. And actually, it just reminds us again, doesn't it, about how journalists, the media, are looking for stories and are scouring, Twitter, all of those things to find their tale. And because fans were talking about it, I guess they leapt upon that and made it a story then, which kind of made that truthful in a way for anybody that was reading it, when actually it was a lie.
I think what Luke said, a lot of it came from that post about renting space, and like fans filled in the space. Actually, I didn't think that the idea of, oh, they're advertising that basically come and use our studios. So people then, I think, did like natural progression in their head of, oh, then that must mean the TARDIS set is gone, when there wasn't even in that Sun report. That was the start of this whole like storm of stories. They didn't say anything about the TARDIS set in that.
Agreed.
So it was
nothing at all.
And it's not a lie, is it? We're just fans of the programme and we're trying to fill the gaps. I didn't try to fill any gaps around that one, but people did. And it's not a lie. It's just your favourite programme and you fill in the gaps. I don't know what the issue is there. Looking at that photo, though, that's enormous, that set, isn't it? That's quite impressive.
This is the thing. I mean, Bad Wolf Studios, this is a big set. In quite a big studio, it takes up a large amount of space in that one studio. But for people who may not know, who either haven't been or don't know people who've been, Bad Wolf Studios is absolutely huge.
Yeah,
they have several. Yeah, you've sort of worked around that area as well, haven't you, Luke? So you've seen too. It's a huge complex of many buildings, isn't it? So the idea that they would need to take this down to justify that post, it never really held any water for me. I never actually believed that the TARDIS set had been taken down. I mean, we did receive some information around that time from various places about various aspects of the production, but that was one that I never heard a single whisper about. And in fact, everything that I had heard about, for example, tours still being given of the studios, with a particular mention to that set well into this year, well into the summer, would actually seem to suggest that it simply wasn't the case. So I never put any real weight on that anyway. But I can see why people did, and of course plans do change all the time. So this was something that I never really offered any great comment on, apart from to the best of my knowledge, they were still conducting tours off the set, therefore it couldn't have been taken down. So that's where it seems to stand at the moment. David, what do you think about these sort of narratives that we sort of collectively build them, don't we? We all chip into them, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they hit pay dirt, and sometimes they're sort of wildly off. The truth of the matter, is it all just part of the fun? And like Anthony said, of being a fan, and we shouldn't really take it that seriously. And do you think that Russell takes this sort of stuff personally?
I wouldn't say he takes it personally. I think he has to deal with this sort of stuff. But the thing is, I think as we have just come out of silly season, there are often quite a few things whereby people will see something and then they will add, for example, 2 and 2 makes 5. They will join the dots in their own head and end up with a complete monstrosity instead of the facts.
We've all done it. Yeah, I've done it.
We all do it, and we always say with Doctor Who, especially, "Oh my God, we've heard this, so this must happen." Well, no, actually, life doesn't work like that. It's actually quite mundane and boring. But the thing is, you've been saying all along that people have been going to visit the sets. If they're going to have a new Doctor, as Charlotte quite rightly says, they will need a damn set to record the regeneration on. If the Disney deal has fallen through, the most likely thing they will need is the TARDIS set to have people, to executives from other places, to go, wow, have a look at this. Have a look at this. This is what we can do, and this is our set, and this is what we are selling, and everything. They have to have that set kept up. I don't think it helped with that really flat poster that they had the photos taken in front of. No. That could largely be down to the availability of Ncuti and to the location where he was available for on the day. So it would be a lot easier to get the assistant somewhere else if he was in London just coming out of his gym and being told that he has to be on a required for a photo shoot that afternoon. Oh, lovely photo. And you know, oh my God, we've only got a blue screen and we'll just superimpose the set.
Yeah, we've got this rolled up in the back of the van.
Yeah, quick, smile. Right, can I go now? Right, okay. So yeah, I think the issue lies with the fact that we want to speculate and we want to think the worst, particularly about this new series of Doctor Who. So we start having these random ideas, and 2 and 2 equals 47. And it would just make no sense whatsoever to take down the set at the moment. Absolutely,
we can see why people did run with it after this was exposed with a small e. But yeah, run with it. We did. There was a lot of running being done last week as well, for old times' sake, mainly in the name of 20 years of New Who. There was quite a lot of buzz around that in the end. I mean, we talked to the writer Paul Hayes on the last early edition of the show, didn't we, Luke? That was good fun, wasn't it? So that was our sort of main feature there. But the conversation did roll on into Thursday as well, and lots of memories sort of got pulled to the surface and things like that. How did you enjoy it all in the end, Luke? Were the festivities for 20 years of New Doctor Who, did it come to a bit more than you were expecting?
I said, yeah. The conversation we had with Paul last week was great, and I've been meaning to read the book ever since to finish it off, but I haven't got around to it just because life, really. But yeah, you would have thought just like a little bit more. It was nice on the day seeing everyone posting stuff in. Oh, look,
it was nice, wasn't it?
And seeing how much it meant as well, especially to like mine and Charlotte's generation, for example, about how you got so many people like interested in it, and you know, people being like, oh, gushing about it, which is quite nice. It's like, oh my God, it's like everyone loves Doctor Who for this one day, and it was really good. It was really good, and I'm in the middle of the great rewatch now. So I started. I'm going back to started from Eccleston onwards. again. So, and he was like watching it back as well. I was like, oh, Rose was fantastic. I was like, that was so good. I was like, that's such a. Oh, I just had a notification from the Doctor Who Instagram channel. Oh, Doctor Who sent a voice note. Oh, here we go. They're listening. They're listening.
They've
Jesus
heard you.
Christ.
They've heard you.
No.
How did you find it all?
I thought it was good. I just thought that fell a bit flat, because obviously, 20th anniversary, 5 Doctors. What did we get for this? I know we just had the 60th a couple of years ago, which Celestial Timemakers back, fantastic. Ooh, fantastic. But that didn't feel like a 60th anniversary special the way the 50th did. It just felt like, cool, here's the Toymaker and David Tennant. Fantastic.
Has it sent you going back to your sort of big chunky TARDIS box set at all, Anthony?
Well, I enjoyed the show last Monday, and it was great to have Paul on. I will agree, and and revisiting his book, which he's an encyclopedic knowledge, isn't he?
Fascinating guy.
Fascinated. I wish I could retain all of that information. Great guy. He did inspire me, and the program did inspire me. Charlotte, you inspired me because you said that you had been sucked into the program because of the trailers that you were watching. Yeah. And I had that in the back of my mind, and I wasn't going to watch Rose. I wasn't going to do that, but I watched Rose and I watched End of the World, and I really enjoyed them as I did. I think I disagree with Paul about the speed of Rose. Dan, even now, I watched that the other night, and it is ferociously fast.
Yeah. Calm down for a moment, love. Calm down.
Yeah, and I think for classic fans coming into that, I think that was for some of us a bit of a jolt. However, I watched it again. I'm interested about the what's the kind of word I'm after? It's kind of the resolution of the picture. I'm going to go with those words. It's kind of misty, isn't it? There's some kind of, it's kind of not quite in focus, which I kind of think adds to the allure of the show. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Doctor Who was still shot on video at a time when a lot of series were moving to film, and it was still shot in standard definition then, when the progress to recording, to shooting in HD had started too. So it was, even though it was better than Doctor Who had ever looked at the time, it was still kind of like a lot of shows around that period. Like Spooks was, it was recorded in that way, wasn't it?
Okay. And then I went into the End of the World and watched that, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's only because of Charlotte saying I was dragged into this show. So I'm blaming Charlotte again. It was like my Matt Smith rewatch. I blamed her for that.
Well, I'm making you watch New Who, so I'm very happy, Anthony.
Yes, you're dragging me back into it.
I am.
How about you, David? How did you?
Job.
Well, how about you, David? How did you find it all?
I love Series 1, and I was like Anthony. I was really nervous about it before it started airing, and I was wondering whether or not I should watch it. But I thought the first 3 episodes were amazing. The farting aliens didn't really do it for me. But I thought the second half of the season was absolutely amazing. And I jumped for joy last week when Charlotte said out loud about how much she loved Boomtown. That, for me, was one of my most favourite episodes of the series because it just gave us a real window into Christopher Eccleston's Ninth Doctor. And it was just a fantastic character piece and showed what Russell could do with just a bit of a filler episode and a few characters and a leftover farty alien. I thought it was an amazing episode, which then built fantastically into that season finale, which was, and I had never, but when I heard that Anne Robinson was going to be in it and Big Brother, I was thinking, oh no, they've sold out. But oh my God, I was absolutely transfixed. And I literally was waiting for second by second for the finale to happen. And it was just out of this world. It was just one of the best series of Doctor Who I think we've ever had, quite honestly. And it just really showed what a great writer Russell used to be, and also Stephen Moffat used to be. Because those two episodes as well, just before Boomtown as well, they were superb. Never before, My grown-up sister was literally scared to go to bed because she hated people saying, "Are you my mummy?" They were saying that in the hospital where she worked. It was just all over everywhere. My kids were saying it and freaking me out. It was just a wonderful, wonderful series.
Of course, a whole new series on the starting block. 8 more episodes that could scare the life out of us for a completely different reason, but they assure us they will not fail us. Everyone, I think all we can do is place a bit of faith and sort of hope for the best. Let's see if we can find some support over in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. See how they're feeling about what we could be getting when the series starts in less than 2 weeks' time.
Make sure you watch Type 40 or the universe will crash on you.
Yeah, let's have your virtual hugs in comment form. Somebody could be cross with us for all we know, couldn't they? Let's go and find out. Check out the comments, everybody. Check out the comments. Who was here first? Who is there? Who's there on the clock? We have got Ron. We've got Ron Sapp. Ron Sapp is in a dress. Spare me. Yeah, you do you, Ron.
Fair play, mate.
Go Ron. Go Ron.
Happy to have you. Go for it, pal. Go for it. Hi, Dan. It says Stephen Braddock. Hi, Stephen.
Oh, I adore your stitch. That is adorable.
I nearly misheard that then. We've got David in the live chat. We've got Sam as well. Dark Hall is into, all with hellos and various greetings. Ezra Goldstein as well. And Rob Alexander says, greetings, fellow Who fans. Happy Monday, panel and chat. When anybody says happy Monday, I always think of Sean Ryder, though, Luke. Sean Ryder and Bears. Is that before your time?
Yeah, well, he's seen Sean Ryder recently at doing some he's doing like some award show in Manchester, and he just goes, yeah, he's definitely doing he's doing some stuff on screen anyway that he probably shouldn't be doing. So yeah, but yeah, happy Monday. Hey, I've had a swim today. I've had a nice Monday. I can't complain. So.
Mellow. It looks all mellow. Commiserations to Tom from T-Dwarf Productions. Hi, everyone. Sad news. My praying mantis Leaf passed away. I need some cheering up. But look, Tom, will do our level best. Condolences to you and all of your family of various different sizes and shapes there that you've got at T-Dwarf Productions. We know how much Leaf meant to you, and yeah, we're really sad to hear that, mate. We've got other comments too, supporting Tom and supporting us as well, including Oti there in the live chat. What a nice message. Thank you, Oti. Matt is into the Wii Music King. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
It's a game thing, Dan, you won't understand.
Not a gamer. Matthew V says, Anthony has been to the poster shop.
I have. And there's the new poster.
Get your daffs out, Dan. It's garbage. Sounds like an order. I don't want to get them. I don't want to get them in though, because they'll stop growing. Then maybe when they I'll go take a picture of it rather than pick them. Another belter of a poster. More fans of the posters, Anthony. Your posters are going down well.
I'm glad, Dan. I'm glad people have spotted this. It's changed every single month since I started doing this show in November, and not one bugger has spotted it. And now all of a sudden, changed it to bloody Doctor Who, and they've all got it.
It's almost like we're a Doctor Who channel, Anthony.
Yeah, almost. There it is.
We've got Woodhouse122 in the live chat as well. Lord Thoth is up with a lark. I don't know what time it is for him there. Our time zones have changed. I'm not sure his have, but welcome to the show again, Lord Thoth. Tom has made a life-size model of a daffodil from Terror of the Autons. There you go. That's what a great tribute. Thing is, though, can you sort of spray something out of it? That'd be even better, wouldn't it? Stephen Braddock's also a fan of the 60s Dalek film soundtracks. Yeah, to hear them is to love them. I think I play the soundtracks more than I watch the films. Robert Payne has stepped in with a factoid there about the gramophone there in the Eighth Doctor's TARDIS. Yes, and the funnel thing is called the horn on those old wind-up gramophones. Of course, yeah, because you used to have the handle, like the starter handle as well. I mean, I've never. This is it's too old for me. I don't actually literally remember them, but obviously I have seen them. Cheryl's in the live chat as well. Good to see you, Cheryl, as is Liven's Flame and lots more of the regulars. It's nice to see so many people back with us. Who else is here? Welcome, David, says Retro Doc Gary.
Hi,
Akers.
Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Demorpin is in as well. And so is...
What?
That's a comment that Dan said about shooting.
Jukebox.
No,
That's a
yeah,
jukebox. Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you.
Liven's Flame suggests it's definitely time for Russell T Davies to warp off. Or do you want to dematerialize the showrunner? You never know what will get in his place, though. That's the only problem, isn't it? Be careful what you wish for. Oh, God.
Maybe Russell's just advertising the Warp group in Manchester for Gareth Kavanagh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's older than Manny, so who knows? Who knows? Hi, Gareth.
Very well connected, isn't he? Might cook him a few quid. Matthew says that Russell is a stroppy man and he's not happy with the reception the show has got. Hence, he's probably gone. No, he's not gone. It's very evidently still there, Matthew. But I think it's not that I think he's not happy with the. I mean, yeah, of course he's unhappy because he wanted it to be more, to be greater. But I would hope that he's observing sort of a professional kind of etiquette around it, a professional distance from it, enough to look at what was wrong, and hopefully he's put it right. Peter Harrington says hello, everyone, as well. So we've got lots of the regular names there in the live chat, including Gambit. Gambit from the New Avengers seems to have joined us. Is that a picture of Roger Moore?
Roger Moore, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Claiming to be Gambit, claiming to be Gareth Hunt. Who else is here? So, Tony L says, or asks, I should say, hi everyone, I hope all is well. Maybe the reason why they filmed the intro trailer with a backdrop is because something happens to the TARDIS in season 2 and they don't want to give anything away. On past experience, that's far too clever. There's been that many cock-ups in this production. I don't know. They would absolutely do that myself, but there we go. Maybe. I think maybe is the watchword here. And we've got Joss H in the live chat as well. And Dalek Lives Matter has joined us too. If sensationalism helps channels get likes, then so be it. Thank you, Dalek Lives Matter. Have I been especially sensational on this one, Charlotte?
I would say you've been quite calm for you on this one so far. Well, we've not had any dad jokes yet off you. So
No.
That's why you brought me in.
That's David's role tonight, yeah.
I brought in the sub. Oh, God. Thank you, everybody, for all of these comments so far. Yeah, we've got lots more to talk about. Of course we have, including some stats, maybe some more hugs, and heaven knows what else. Well, I know there's definitely going to be more hugs because there's some cuteness heading your way now. Is anybody... Now, I don't know if anybody ever had these when you were a child. I did. Do you remember Fisher-Price Little People, Anthony, from the 70s, the little toys?
I do. I didn't have any, Dan. I'm anticipating your next question. I don't have any now. So please enlighten us about what these little people are.
Look at this little person, the kind of little person you might want to give a hug to, don't you think?
Oh.
Yeah.
So obviously, staying with the theme again of 20 years of New Who, this picture was released the other day from Fisher-Price. They're celebrating over 60 years of Doctor Who with a collectible set of 6 little people styled figures, all made to look like different incarnations of the Doctor. And of course, here's the 9th Doctor out there at the what was called the Millennium Wheel. Is it still called the Millennium Wheel? I don't know.
Yeah.
The London Eye. I don't know.
London Eye, Dan.
But there it is, and there he is, back at the scene of that first episode of New Doctor Who, of course. And there's more. Yeah, there's a full set of these. They each stands at 2.5 inches or 7 centimeters. And the set, it's a special edition set, includes 6 regenerations of the Time Lord, it says here. Colors and decorations may vary, but it all comes in a presentation set as well, a presentation pack. You can sort of fiddle around with them and their various accessories. So the 12th Doctor's there with his guitar to rock out with, and there's a couple of Sonics and things like that. So I just think these are so cute. I hadn't thought about the little people in a few years, but I had some of those as well as Lego guys and all that kind of thing.
Dan, can I just say, my sister, she had the Little People doll's house, and she had the big yellow teapot, and she also had the Little People Ferris wheel, and I had the Little People garage.
I remember the Ferris
sort of
wheel.
like the
I had the garage.
Yeah,
I had the garage.
yeah.
I always wanted the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Can I just say, David and Dan, I'm looking at Luke and Charlotte's face, thinking, what are those old people on about? They're just staring in absolute disbelief. What are you old folk talking about?
No play sets.
They were all the mod cons.
They're all mod cons. There are no mod cons this time.
No.
This set of Doctors just comes in. It's quite an attractive, a decorative window box package. They describe it here, all decked out like the TARDIS, of course. The Little People Collector, their whole range. This is one of those things that's gone away from kids into the collectors, I'm sensing. But it's quite a nice little set, that is. I mean, yeah, you might want to accidentally lose a couple of them, I don't know. But to see the Little People and Fisher-Price and all that kind of, it just reminded me how much fun I had with these when I was a kid. They were everywhere all over Woolworths. There was no tie-ins to movies or TV shows then. I would have loved a Tom Baker or Peter Davison one when I was a kid. This has been billed as a great gift for adult fans and collectors aged 12 and up. And Fisher-Price is best known for making toys suitable for children, generally speaking, around 3. So I'm slightly outside, Charlotte, of the usual bracket.
No, but
Dan, sorry, Charlotte, just quickly, Lee in the chat has just mentioned the go-to Little People thing that everybody wanted, but not everybody got, and that is the Little People Treehouse. For me, that was my always most wanted, but I never got it. One of my best friends had it, and I was incredibly jealous.
Me too.
Still have stole it.
Friend of the family's daughter had one of those, and I looked at it with very envious eyes.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. So this is the Little People Collector Doctor Who TV series special edition set. Will be available from this autumn at some point or another. No exact date yet. Anthony, would you be looking to add this to your collection?
Oh, gosh. No. To put it mildly. Somebody's bound to say, where's the 14th Doctor? Because he's missing.
Good point.
Yes. But, right, this serious point now on the Little People. Isn't it interesting that all of the merchandise that we've had in the last couple of years has always been seemingly targeted towards the collector market, never the kids? And I think one of the successes of New Who when it came back, I mean, you would walk into Toys R Us in the, in series 2 or 3, and the collection of figures, play sets, everything aimed at the children helped, I believe, to make Doctor Who as successful as it was it came back. I bought one. I've got the Shooty, character options, Millie character options, all of that. But it's aimed at a collector's market, isn't it? And when this came up on the show, when we first talked about it, I would feel as if I was a child, I'd want a protagonist to go alongside those character option toys.
Completely agree.
You want a monster to fight against, but you don't get it. You just get something that looks, admittedly, very nice in packaging. And that's kind of what draws me to these collector toys, because the packaging is great, but they're not aimed at kids. It's not aimed at that kind of, pocket money type price. I bet this is how much is this, Dan? Is it about £40?
£79.99.
Lemonade.
No, there's no date or price on this as of yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we get further information. It's due out in the autumn. It's a special edition, so they will be limited in number. Anthony, I couldn't agree more with everything that you've just said.
Well, if it is £79, I'm out.
He's officially out, everybody.
It's nice to have something though with all technically the new Who doctors. Like I feel like we have a lot of stuff which is just one doctor or two doctors. It's nice to have a bit of a set again, even if, like you said, you might accidentally lose a couple or maybe just give some away or sell some. You never know. But it's just nice to have that as a celebration of this is technically.
I agree. I think it's a nice thought. I mean, I noticed how that they timed the announcement for the 20th anniversary of New Who, but the product isn't available for months. So something that is out now, happily, is the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast. That's available not just at our home feed at type40.podbean.com, but across all major podcatchers, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Amazon, all of those places. And a brand new episode is due to drop this week too, connected to these. Yes, the Doctor's oldest, most fearsome enemy. Exactly who are Simon and I speaking to on this edition of the show? You'll be able to find out very, very soon. But it's another fantastic conversation. We can't wait for you to hear it. So make sure you're subscribed and you follow us wherever it is that you get your podcasts. As for Type 40 Live, yes, we're back Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. here with a dedicated crack panel of pundits here who are chomping at the bit to get to those 8 new episodes. 8 new episodes that are coming our way very, very soon. Speaking of which, let's get into the next segment. You keep the comments coming, and we'll make some sense of it. Maybe. Well.
Now, I suggest you start watching Type 40 because I can't. I've got to watch this little blighter. The job through. I'll have less of that from you. Thank you very much. Know your place.
Know your place.
Look, if I have to run up a flight of stairs, you come and find me.
I'll be in the lift.
That's going to the bottom of the floor then. Keep
Perfect.
watching Type 40. There's good chaps.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, so the big space anus is almost open. It's dilating as we speak and getting
Daniel.
more reddened by the week. It's approaching, everyone, and we have new sights and sounds by the day. So we're waiting. So is she. We're going to meet our brand new companion, aren't we? And last week we had some new artwork, some new key art. Luke, we never got your view about this the other day. Get Her Home, and this new poster from Disney Plus there that advertises that start date of April the 12th. It's a very romanticized image, isn't it? Does this appeal to your sensibilities and how you see the show? We talked about this a little on Thursday, but I'd love your viewpoint.
I really like this one. I like the ones that I was sending you privately better, but
some of them could be seen as inappropriate. We may have one coming up later.
But no, I think it's great, isn't it? It harkens back to like the older series of getting the companions home. But yeah, no, I like it. It's nicely composed. It looks very filmic, very cinematic. TARDIS looks a bit weird to me for some reason, but no, I really like this one. The new one, I really don't like that one. Really, really don't like.
But the new one is coming up in a moment. The new one. So this was attached to another trailer, wasn't it? There he was, dressed like Benny from Crossroads for you 70s kids. There he is, the Doctor. I actually quite like this. I like that coat, and I quite like that hat. I think the scruffier this Doctor looks, ironically, the better he looks, the more he looks like the Doctor. But of course, that never seems to stay that way for very long, does it? The new episodes are on the way, of course, from April the 12th. 8 episodes. I would imagine that 8 episodes, so that will mean probably about 18 new costumes, I would say. So we're going to get plenty of that. Then, as we speak right now, they are having the UK premiere screening there. That's going on somewhere at an undisclosed location in London. We've got some pictures from that as well that have just hit social media. But last week they were in the States. I don't know if anybody saw this. Ncuti Gatwa and Verada Sethu were over in America, and they hit the Empire State Building for a bit of a photo opportunity. Here they are, Ncuti out, dressed like the world's biggest Boy Scout there, in his short trousers. There, no surprise. At least he's polished his shoes up there. Looks like Dolly Parton's little boy, doesn't he? I don't know. Yeah, so I thought, but these pictures again, it's the kind of stuff you expect. They did the thing with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, didn't they? At the top of the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building about 10 years ago or so. So this is actually how I'd like Doctor Who to be promoted when it's overseas. Our man in America, David, or our man and woman in America.
Oh my word! I mean, it looks like the lovely Veranda is going to appear in an episode of Agatha Christie's Poirot, and Ncuti is going to be on sort of Biker Grove. I really, I mean, for God's sakes, does he look at himself before he goes out in the morning? I mean, I dress like a dad, and that's because I am a dad. But I don't start wearing all sorts of frilly jumpsuits and everything like that. But I mean, honestly, don't pull. What is this fashion of having your socks pulled up when you're wearing shorts? It's no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's one step away from wearing espadrilles, isn't it?
Yes. It's sort of, no, you don't do that. Oh my goodness me.
I mean, that is the fashion now. That is.
I know. Socks and Crocs as well. It's appalling. It's just, I
get bullied at school when I was a kid if you went dressed like that. Verada looks sensational as ever, absolutely, in my opinion. Brilliant. I even love the kind of the Gene Hunt style shirt with the wingtips.
Yeah, she's rocking it, and she's next to somebody who looks like they've been dressed by Stevie Wonder. Honestly. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's just a crime. And I don't mean to be... That's my first dad joke of the evening, so sorry. It was probably not...
It's not, mate. There's been a few.
Okay. But no, I just don't like what he's... I just don't... It just doesn't exude the Doctor for me.
In all seriousness, I do like this picture. I like this sense of fun, larking about, of course, at the Empire State Building, which was the scene of the original King Kong film, wasn't it? Back nearly 100 years ago when that film was out. So this did genuinely make me laugh, even though I think she's more committed to the part than Ncuti is. I think he's got no idea what King Kong actually is. King Dong probably, but not King Kong. No. So. So yeah, there they are. That was the tour of the States last week, but they are in Britain right now. I think they were on a few TV shows and things like that, but they're back in Britain. They're back on home soil for the actual premiere ahead of that launch date of Saturday, the 12th of April. So as you quite rightly said, Luke, I mean, I didn't think we'd get a new trailer and poster so soon after that one, but we have. With new key art and a new shade of lipstick on the logo too. So this is the one you're not so keen on. You're not feeling this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about it. It's just I don't find it appealing. I don't know why. I guess it's cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about it. It just looks messy and a bit thrown together. It's the angle of Ncuti as well. It's just like
it looks like a freeze frame from a Jamiroquai video from like.
Yeah,
90s,
something about it just looks completely off to me. Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. Really not a fan.
See, I love it. I'm loving everything they're doing with this. So, but to be fair to them, in my view, they haven't put a foot wrong promoting this so far. I can live without the various shades of lipstick on that logo. To me, it looks far better in the stark white, Anthony.
Yeah, okay. These posters. The one you just showed and this one, I really like. And I don't often say that about new Who. I'm usually quite antagonistic towards some of the things I see. However, these posters, this one in particular, I hate to disagree with Luke because I always agree with Luke. But this here, I love. I don't know why I love it. I don't know if it's the colours. I don't know if it's this exploding, whatever this is. Is this the Earth? I'm drawn into this poster, And the one before, with the caption about going home, I really love that one as well. There's something very attractive about those two posters. I don't know what it is, but it makes me want to watch it just this little bit more than I probably did before.
It's selling us on story and character, in my opinion. And it's nothing, I think I said the other day, it's nothing earth-shattering. Is it, David? It's not even that it's something that we haven't seen before. We have several times, but we haven't seen it for a little while. And I think that anybody new who could be attracted to the show, you never know.
Yeah,
it may happen.
Well, they look very cinematic.
Yes.
And that they look quite bold. They look quite. Can I just say, very Disney?
Heroic.
Yes, as well. The first one that you showed, it's very, very emotional. Quite an emotional piece of art. This one, as you say, is very heroic.
I think so.
And I love what's going on.
I like, David, the fact that they're still not holding hands. He's offered her his hand, but she still hasn't taken it. This is the kind of, it's gentle storytelling. I like this. I really do like it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. They say a picture paints 1,000 words, and this actually does. Oh, sorry, Sean.
Yeah, and I like how we're actually seeing in the promotion anywhere, we're yet to see it on screen, like these sort of different shades to Shooty's Doctor. I said, like, the other one, he was almost like the wise figure, like pointing the way forward, being that. Here, it's like this idea of him almost being the protector again, and the sort of being out in front and saying, come with me. Like he said, that gentle storytelling. And I think they need to do this with Shooty's Doctor. They need to sort of shape the image of what he has had from that first series, which is, if you ask people who did watch it, how would you describe Shooty's Doctor? They go, well, he's either crying or he's sort of running around not doing much, like being a bit all over the place.
In a flap.
Yeah, like those were the two sort of ways he was always shot and portrayed on screen. So I like the fact that it looks like in the promotion, they're trying to shake that a bit, and they're trying to put these more positive images of his Doctor out. I think the ultimate thing is, and we talked about this on Thursday, he has to deliver now, but at least promotion-wise, they are sort of trying to play with his Doctor and the imagery of his Doctor a bit, which I think is really good.
Publicity and promotion are so important. Domgo says you can make all the posters you want and silly promo pictures, but if the stories and acting still suck, no one will care. Well, of course, but this is the way anything is promoted, and it has been for several decades. So, part of what we do here is to look at the promotion of the show, the way it's publicized, and to sort of revel in that as well, and to join some of the dots and have fun with it. So, of course, but it doesn't alter the point of, if something's good, we're going to say it's good, or we're going to at least voice our opinions. They look like the extras, not the stars, says Dalek Lives Matter. They are the only two people there. I mean, I suppose you could say the TARDIS is still the star of the show. Some people may say that. Perhaps they're right.
Dan, can I ask you a question, please?
Yeah.
Because I might not be able to see it, but it comes off on the back of what you've been going on the panel for the last few weeks, that this Doctor doesn't have a design a specific silhouette. Yeah. Do both posters show him in the same costume? Out of interest?
They do. That's strange, isn't it?
He just doesn't wear it, does he? Sorry, can we see the fact that I'm the one normally defending the show. I defended Ryland, and I'm now I'm the one who's like, you know what? Don't like it, and everyone else is wrong. Everyone else is wrong
because he's not wearing the daff.
This is the beauty of Type 40, though. This is why we get genuine opinions on here. There are no party lines, and we like what we like, and we don't like what we don't like, and there are no wrong answers. And part of the joy of this community, this way of getting together, is the comparing and the contrasting. And I think this is something that's generally being lost out there, where these things are spoken about. Yes, I think this is all really quite strong so far. We've got a new trailer as well, a shorter one than the other day, but a very particular one. And obviously, the answer to the question that's on the tip of your tongue, that is coming as well. So take a look at this.
I've been here before, and I met something. I've never been so scared in my life.
Oh, the crying's back, bro.
Our entire reality is in danger.
Do you think you could stop it?
He cannot. No one can.
Run! Run! What are you?
Shorter, sharper, more intense. You could say that this poster is considerably more intense as well. We're getting more intense as the premiere date is getting that little bit closer. And a further strapline as well. One hell of a journey home this time. So clearly the theme of getting home is there. And we've got on this alternative poster, we can also see the Earth up there in the top right-hand corner. So a story is coming together. It's nothing that's going to change the face of entertainment, but a clear sort of mission statement that people can hopefully invest in, apart from Luke, of course.
Well, to be fair, as that went on, because obviously the Doctor Who Instagram channel is doing the premiere now. They released the so just had a ping through. So obviously they've got a program, they've got the TARDIS popcorn bucket, which is just a piece of wood, but the program is that poster. So it's like, oh, cool. I'm wrong then. I'm wrong.
Let's have a look. Let's
Oh, there you go.
That's the program.
And there it is. So it's like, cool.
That's the same popcorn bucket that
it
they
looks
had.
quite nice. I always said it looked quite nice. I don't know what you were on about. I thought it was nicely composed. I saw one comment saying, "I'm glad Shooty's not wearing a kilt in that image." I was like, "That's actually quite funny."
No, not this time. Not this time. But I dare say, several times throughout the series, he'll be in the kilt. Everybody, So this is clearly. I mean, is this the final one? Are we going to get another one? Are we going to get episode-specific ones as the time gets closer, Charlotte, and maybe even another trailer? Because last trailer, I got the impression again there was a few bits from various episodes in there.
Yeah, but they probably do previews. I won't be surprised if they do a little preview for each episode. And yeah,
you notice that every trailer's getting darker in tone as well?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Actually, it's funny how like the intensity is clearly being like dialed up, and the stakes, and sort of. I sort of said last time we chatted how like the universe now has teeth, which I like, and
so does he.
And that monster, whoever's the sort of creature designer for this series, I think bloody good job so far, because even if the stories are not amazing writing wise, at least we've got things like this, which it's just, it looks brilliant. It's because it's that idea.
It does look
of, like,
better, doesn't it?
It's almost got like a Cybermen feeling with some of the chest, but the ornateness of the face makes you think of something of something else. So it's sort of interesting. Like I said, I actually think, at least if nothing else, we're going to get some very good monsters, which I'm very excited about.
Arresting visuals are a big part of the appeal.
Apparently, that's the episode 1 monster, because he's holding the star thing that you get in the Doctor Who magazine, which Belinda gets in episode 1. So apparently, he's the episode 1 villain.
Well spotted. I thought that was a piece of metal, but you're quite right. It's that sort of rolled up ticket that I think we see her holding it. Yes, there it is.
Star certificate. Yeah. So that's the episode 1 baddie, I guess. But it looks fantastic. Like fair play. Clearly Disney money has gone into this season. So, hey, all power to him. Looks really good.
It seems so. There are rumours circulating, because obviously that trailer is so dark, and we do see the Doctor. So he hasn't done so much crying in the last couple of trailers, but he does look very visibly upset there, doesn't he, David? So it does seem that we're going to see the Doctor shed a tear or two, some more, as the season goes on. But to be fair to him, that is the 3rd trailer. If is pretty sparse. And at least, again, it spoke of some sort of actual danger. You think, well, I'd probably be pretty scared by that as well.
Look, I don't mind the Doctor crying, but it should be used sparingly. Because I think too much, and it's the boy who cried wolf. If he reacts if he cries when the universe crumbles in front of his eyes, absolutely. If he shed a little tear when he thought Ruby had died, absolutely, not a problem with that. But every damn episode, he's crying 2 or 3 times. It takes away the emotional impact away from it. Now, if they've reduced the blubbing, in this series to only show it when the chips are really down and he's just had the fright of his life or something really bad has happened, and judging by the dark tone of this series, it looks like that's the narrative, then fair enough, mate. Absolutely shed a tear, no problem, because I'd be blubbing like a baby anyway. And if that was me. And what I particularly love about these trailers is that we've got monsters back, we've got scares back, we've got potential frightening situations. And to quote Bob Holmes, let's scare the little buggers, let's make it frightening. Let's get, blimey, actually, they might not get to the end of this without getting out alive. That is something we want to see, and we want to be thrilled and entertained. And I just hope, beyond all hope, that that's what we're going to get. I really do. And I've got my fingers crossed.
Well, rumours are starting to circulate that there are hints in that trailer, that specific trailer there, Charlotte, that one of these could be a sequel to a David Tennant episode from 2008 that Russell T Davies also wrote, at Midnight, which I think is a big favourite of a lot of ours here on the show. I'm not sure why people have latched onto that. I don't think Russell's actually said anything about this, whether this is another fan invention that people are kind of running with, but it's sort of popping up all over X. And so I know that this is a thing, because the Doctor does seem very, very scared. He's arrived at some sort of a location in that trailer, which does seem to be the origin point of something that he's encountered before. But then again, there's lots of things the Doctor's spoken about on screen that he says he's encountered before that we've never seen. So it needn't necessarily be something from.
Yeah, I've heard these rumors as well. And I'm just, if it was a couple of years ago and Russell hadn't done what he'd done in series 1, I probably would be a lot more excited for the idea of revisiting Midnight. But I don't want him to explain the creature in that now. I don't want an origin, because what worked so well with Midnight was you basically knew nothing about the entity or whatever it was. And that's what made it scary, that this thing that you knew nothing about could be so effective at getting people scared and paranoid, and then at the end literally take over the Doctor. That scene has got power because it's because you're thinking, what on earth could control a Time Lord like that? What's got the power to do that? And I just don't want Russell to now tell me what it is. That's my fear.
It's a Welshman. Oh no!
In the last 2 or 3, in the last 2 or 3 years as well, Luke, Russell has gone back to earlier sort of plot threads, things that were kind of left dangling, and filled in gaps that we didn't really want filling in, or updating us about things that we kind of were better off leaving them where they were. So, is it not better that he just concentrates on giving us new stuff, new sights now, new sounds, new scares, and kind of forget about the old stuff if they really want to reestablish the show?
I don't know. I think season 1 was a misstep. I know it was supposed to be this big relaunch, and then it's jumping on fans for everyone, and you probably have the most lore-heavy series of Doctor Who ever. I'd bring back Sutekh, which is a bizarre choice. Realistically, if you're going to relaunch for Disney, the main villains probably should have been the Daleks, because they're the most iconic to do with Doctor Who, so you give it the big relaunch. I'm not going to say what I was going to say then. Sorry. But yeah, hopefully, yeah, you already know. But yeah, I think obviously we've had this leak come out now. That's by the same guy that's leaked everything from the 60th, and it sounds, from reading it, it sounds quite absurd. But it's the same guy that leaked the bi-generation and what's happening with. He leaked everything for this season, so he does specifically say that he is going back to midnight.
Okay. I didn't realize that was the origin of this rumor.
Yeah, I think it was the same guy. I think it was the same.
Was it Luke? Was it on Reddit? He put these spoilers out. I think that's where somebody sent me them basically.
Of course, if it is a sequel to Midnight, he's missed a trick by not calling it midday. I feel,
I've got a feeling that if it is, he probably didn't want this coming out. That it was. I've got a feeling he probably wanted all the surprise to be, oh, look what it is. If it's true, that is. We'll have to wait and see.
But if some of the leaks are true, then some of them are fantastic. Some of them are absolutely absurd. And it's like, oh, God. But it is the same, potentially the same guy that leaked the bi-generation and everything. So who knows? So there are other leaks available if you do want to look. Gallifrey Base is a thing and people think they know, So don't take everything everyone says gospel unless it's me ringing Dan on a Thursday, or Wednesday. Sorry.
So yeah, we've got two great posters. I think that generally speaking, even Luke's warming to the second one there. That are kind of speaking of where the season's going. Yes, it's not everything by a long chalk, but it's something. It's certainly a lot better, in my opinion, than last year. The press launch is happening right now. They may be at their intermission point as we speak, gone off for a pee and a cornetto. I don't know, and not necessarily in that order. These are some pictures from social media from this evening. This courtesy of Morgan Jeffrey from the Radio Times. It's a picture of a TARDIS. Looks like it's been painted up, especially for the occasion. I'd say, yeah, it looks pretty good. There's posters outside as well. The same poster, given that sort of cinematic look, the quad look, up with the creases going from side to side as well, like a proper movie poster. I love this. And 2 lines of copy underneath. Yeah, it doesn't say which episodes they're screening. I would imagine there would be more. I'd imagine there'd be more than one, Luke.
Yeah, imagine 1 or 2 double bank. Because episode 3 is apparently the one that's the midnight one, isn't it? So yeah, do the one with Alan Cummings. Do the opener. Hopefully, because we get some reviews coming in soon. But last year, critics' reviews were glowing about Space Babies. So how much money Disney spent on having good reviews, I don't know. But
you talked to the wrong bloke, mate. Ben Wino in the live chat says the Midnight entity was already seeded in the 60th anniversary unit's galvanic beam. Uses the same energy. Galvanic beam, galvanic radiation. Wow, that's a deep cut and a half. Ben, I didn't know anything about this. So, yeah, good for you, mate. No idea what you're talking about, but it sounds absolutely, well, if it happened, it happened. Brilliant. Yeah, maybe they are going somewhere with it, and yeah, maybe it's opened something somewhere. The event has continued on, so the cast have started arriving. We've got a few pictures, and I think that more are probably all over social media right now. There's Millie Gibson and Varada Sethu, and I think that's Ncuti Gatwa in the middle, being flanked by photographers and flashing lights and things like that. And yeah,
my Lord.
Ncuti, it's either one thing or the other there. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, something like that? Ncuti and Varada again.
Very cool coat. A very cool coat.
He looks like an
have
action
it unbuttoned. Figure. Yeah, he should be wearing the coat unbuttoned.
Now it's cold in London.
He's got it tied with a piece of string. I think maybe afterwards he's going out flashing or something. I don't know. I'm leaving him blind. But he's got. I like the giant flower next to his face. I don't know what to make of this. I mean, he's ridiculous.
Oh my God!
But I don't know. I mean, he can get away with it, I suppose. He's still smiling. She's definitely smiling. And yeah, the pictures, no doubt, they'll be everywhere, hundreds of them by the morning, with maybe some more news to follow as well. Let us know what you think of it all so far. Could this be a look for the Doctor will be getting at some point in this. I'm trying to work out what that leather thing is over the side of his. Is that part of the coat, Charlotte, or is it some sort of holster?
Holster.
It just
Keep an arrow in it or something, or a whisper.
it just looks like he went in his wardrobe and was like, I'm just going to pick different bits I like. They don't have to go together. I just like this coat. I like this flower. I like this top. And that's it.
It's like, I mean, is he wearing a shirt over a fleece?
Yeah,
or a
he's got like a
roll-neck
turtleneck.
Over a turtleneck, yeah.
I mean, my God, it looks like, you know, oh my goodness me.
I like how the weather's getting warmer, Anthony, but Shooty's wrapping up.
He needs,
Absolutely.
he needs an eye test. He really does.
But to give him credit, at least he's not already insulted the fans at this, like he did at this point last year. So he's learning.
We're up on the game. We're up on the game. Adric is coming back, confides Super John in the live chat. Gary says Verada is hot in that dress. It had to be said. She's been hot in everything I've seen her in so far. Tied with string like a Yorkshire farmer from All Creatures Great and Small. Says Liven's playing. He's got each of the combo Seminites about him, hasn't he?
Now then, Mr. Harriet.
Lee Smith says she's stunning in red. Rob just says gorgeous. It could be for either of them or both of them. I don't know, Rob. Let us know.
Is there anything attached to the string saying, like, please take care of this actor or something?
Well, yeah, it's like you get on one of those like big Paddington Bears. If you pull the string, he talks.
Oh,
you never know. Yeah. Obviously, this is all in preparation for the premiere in less than 2 weeks' time now. All kicks off with this episode, The Robot Revolution by Russell T Davies. That's on Saturday, the 12th of April. Exact broadcast time on BBC One to be determined. I think that probably get published tomorrow, won't it, with the Radio Times? But it'll be on iPlayer from 8 a.m. that morning. You know what we got to say about all of it, everybody? I think it's looking pretty good so far. I think it's looking like a step up from the last time, but our advice always here at Type 40 is, you guessed it, good luck, everybody. So, Anthony, are you going to be watching these, mate?
Do you know what? If you'd asked me that question a couple of weeks ago, I would say, yeah, take it or leave it. I could watch all of them in one great big go and be done. And I've watched them and I've seen them.
Binge them, yeah.
But binge them. But as time has crept on, I'm blaming Charlotte and Luke for this. But as time has crept on, I've got more and more dragged in and sucked in. Okay. And I'll tell you what I was thinking when you were talking about Midnight and, you know, the tone of these episodes. Yeah. It always reminds me of, you know, Russell T back in the day, when the series would always start off light and fluffy and fun and grab everybody in. And then at midpoint, it would shift a bit and then it would get darker and deeper. And, you know, this idea that the series one was filmed and then they had a long break and sat down and talked about it and wrote some scripts, listened to the backlash isn't the case, isn't it? This is all gone all the way through. And I think had these 16 episodes been shown as a series, you would have got that scope of, you know, light to dark, which Russell T was always very good at doing. You know, started off from
it was always shape to all of his seasons, wasn't there?
Yeah, agreed. I love the posters. I love the posters saying iPlayer and Disney. I think that gives it a sense of, you know, of the reality of where those episodes are going to be shown. I'm being slowly and surely sucked in.
Coaxed.
I'm not particularly coaxed to watch it at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not that keen, but I do feel as though I'm being slowly dragged in.
And the other thing is, I with this sort of the stakes we've been talking about and the dark tone and all that, I feel like if this is done right, actually, when we get to the end of like the end point of this series, when it comes to this companion and this doctor, do you know, if she, for example, starts to warm to him, or if she starts to sort of show care towards him, it's going to mean a hell of a lot more because if it's done right, it will be because they've gone through so much possibly together. They've had to sort of trust each other a lot more. They've had to face things that have sort of made them get closer possibly. And that is just going to be so much of an interesting watch and so much more of a good watch than I sort of said this before, but I've sort of been thinking more about it with the tone shift. It will make the Doctor and Companion a lot more compelling again, which I think they desperately needed.
Charlotte, you're absolutely spot on there. Absolutely spot on.
Something has to compel us to be there every single week to get the audience. I mean, it's even more so with the casuals, isn't it? Because they, you know, as we're going to come to after the break, the casuals are more lost than they've been in quite a time. I believe that the Christmas special just gone was the series' last chance to get people back. Yes. I kind of feel that as impressive as all of this is, it's the series is kind of playing an extra time now that the match is actually over, and that's a shame. I hope I'm proven wrong, but that's still reluctantly my feeling about it. Obviously, I've got long until we find out.
Yeah, I agree. And I've always felt that this series coming along is going to be more of the same in terms of ratings, if not a little bit less. I don't want it to be that, but I've just got a feeling that Joy to the World was last chance, and this is just going to be more of the same. However sad that is, because I feel, looking at the trailer, that the quality of the episode seemed to be darker in tone and more like we'd come to expect.
Yeah, I think what this has done, I've noticed, is it's made the more hardcore people get a bit more excited this time round. Yeah. It's sort of made the inbuilt fan base take a bit more notice. But it's not gone beyond
those posters. The posters, the mission statement, and the monsters make it look like Doctor Who again. Seems like there's more.
I've not seen that sort of that excitement, if that's the right word, go beyond fan circles yet. It's not casuals, and we'll talk about, like I said, with the bigger
Terrified
story
Monk
in a minute.
Here says, my theory is that they are listed as 2 seasons, but in reality it's 1 season split in 2 with the best to come. There could be some truth in that, but I think we also must, for all these 2 seasons were filmed in close succession, the thing about this block of 8 is that they've had the benefit. These stopped filming nearly a year ago. They've had a year in post-production. And that doesn't mean just adding special effects. That means looking at the editing, the tone of things. They can, some of these episodes, you know, varying on episode to episode, some of them have several minutes worth of scenes that get excised completely. A lot can be excised or changed tonally, focus shifted in a good edit. And these things can be done after the fact, leaving things out completely even. Entire characters sometimes fall by the wayside in movies. So yes, whilst that did happen, it doesn't mean that what we're going to get as a product from April the 12th is the same product that we would have got had these episodes ran, say, from last August directly after the last date. I don't think that stands up to any real examination. And it as a creative process, it wouldn't make any sense either. I'd say that's. Yeah, we won't know until they write the books on the thing. That's the sad fact of it. We can guess all we like, but that would certainly be. Well, that would be. What do you think they've been doing this whole time? Because there's been people on staff at Doctor Who are still working on it. We know that the finale is still being worked on. So that's how it's going to be. Some people are out. Domgo is out. Sorry, guys, I just can't watch this stuff anymore.
I think a lot of people, Domgo, will be like you. Yeah. Honestly, I agree with Anthony. I think. The first episode, you're going to see the room figures be impacted heavily. It'll be interesting to see what happens after the first episode goes out.
Stephen Braddock is reporting that people at his work have been swayed by good trailers and posters, so maybe it does work after all. Saturday, that's Saturday the 12th of April, 8 a.m. on BBC iPlayer. Later that day on BBC One in the UK. Outside of the UK, you can get it, of course, on Disney Plus, where it's available simultaneously, starting at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 12 a.m. Pacific Time. And each of the remaining 7 episodes of the series will transmit or drop on subsequent Saturdays here at Type 40 and Type 40 Live. We'll be watching, so make sure you're subscribed and notified and all that jazz. Sorry, mate. Oh, blimey, every time. Yes, so it is that time again. Of course, there's golden faces and voices. That's shining face. Golden faces and golden voices from Doctor Who's long and distinguished past. Here, now, we're flogging us all manner of everyday bits of old tat from way back in the pre-Amazon days, everybody. It's the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. See how many of these you remember. Back in a couple of minutes.
Did you know there have actually been 10 Doctor Who's? Yeah, the Daleks were originally called the Mutants, and TARDIS stands for Time and Relative Dimensions in Space.
Radio Times. You're more informed because we're more informed.
The journey down to Australia can be rather a long haul.
Can you see her?
Not yet. Mind you, she's out there doing it.
So we've introduced the Singapore stopover. You get to break your trip and relax in a first-class hotel.
I suppose you got the day right.
Of course I did. I'm not stupid.
You get to do a bit of shopping, maybe take in a few of the sights, get into the swing of things.
Little ladies don't just disappear in mid-air, Jeffrey.
Certainly not Grant. She sounded the adventurous type, is she?
You can try exotic dishes, make new friends, and meet the locals.
Wayne, come along now. We're going home.
The Singapore stopover from £8 to £16 a night. Just don't forget to tell the folks.
I can't understand it. She's so reliable.
Kitty Cat Supreme, high in protein. Kitty Cat. To satisfy a cat's appetite for life. High protein Kitty Cat. You couldn't have a fitter cat.
Welcome back to your Type 40 Live early edition, covering the future, the present, and the past of all things Doctor Who trailers and posters. Terrible, scurrilous rumours with clips, dad jokes, and nostalgia all in the mix too. I'm here with the panel, not tinkering and toying with ourselves, just like Bonnie in this fabulous picture. So I'm here with the panel, and we're raring to go with some more. Keep those comments coming as ever, everyone. Who's with me this time? Who's present and who's correct? It's not necessary, but it's desirable. So we've got Anthony Weiner here. We have Luke Walters over on the right, David Milling here directly below, and Charlotte Shields there too on the bottom left. We've got a new story to look at as well, one that I have to admit that I didn't see coming. But yeah, thank you everybody for all the comments so far. What have we got here? Yeah, so the adverts always raise a smile, don't they? Where is the two-armed Davros? Is Alive Flames asking. Oh, you're talking about this picture of Bonnie, aren't you? Didn't have the complete set. We should send her one, Anthony.
Oh, do you remember when these figures were released? You know, it was, you know, so it's 1987, 88. I mean, it's the end of old classic Doctor Who. And then suddenly this range of 5-inch figures appear. I mean, they're not the greatest figures, but I have an absolute love for these figures. And I've gone back and tried to collect nearly all of them. I just think that there's something charming about the Dapol or Dapol 5-inch era. I love them. There's a green canine. Matthew V is absolutely right. As that just popped into my eye line, there's a green K9. And wasn't the console 6-sided or something?
I think it was, yeah. And this TARDIS playset is apparently worth around £400, according to TARDIS Travels there. I'm not remotely surprised.
I have one.
There you go. There you go.
Just
What
think
else
how great it would look with a little people treetop house. You know.
Oh, David, don't start that again. I've had enough of that.
Okay, so with
only joking.
with less than 2 weeks to go until the launch of a new season, we have had talk in the live chat there about people's colleagues sort of being won around by this, but there was a time where there was no real question of it, was there? The audience, not just us, the fans, but the audience would sort of be counting down the days until the TARDIS rematerialized on a Saturday evening, and it would delight the nation for that 12, 13 weeks, telling a story, an overarching story with a lot of shape, going to a lot of pasts, presents, and futures and other worlds. In the meantime, everything seemed to work so well. Success like that has been elusive for the Doctor Who production team for quite a long time, which has taken its toll on the brand and on the show. The show's had peaks and valleys before, of course, but now, of course, it's been dragged down and into the trenches, really, of the dreaded culture war. The broader media coverage of the series for the 20th anniversary of New Who, that did show us, I think, an underside to this, revealing that there is appetite and warmth out there still for Doctor Who after all, if you know where to look for it, really. But that needs to be drastically sort of inflated and expanded, doesn't it? Something very specific has dropped in the last couple of days from, of all places, YouGov, which seems to answer the question as to just how popular is Doctor Who in the here and now. And they chose this anniversary as the occasion to sort of open up the whole debate, really. I mean, here we are in 2025, and so much water has gone under the bridge in the last 2 decades. And I think the crux of it is, because I've said on this show so many times now that the classic series is more alive than ever. And in some ways, I think that's where a lot of the best conversations can be had as well. So is the truth of the matter that despite the innovations and the noise and the various stunts and the special effects and the hype, do we, the great British public in the home of Doctor Who, still, after all of that, prefer that original series, the quieter, the cheaper classic production that ran from 1963 to 1989? YouGov polls are sometimes the butt of jokes, I find, Anthony. There is a sort of standing thing that if you go and look at a YouGov poll, generally speaking, the results will always come out at 77% of people believe this. So when I heard that there was a YouGov poll concerning Doctor Who and results had been published and the fandom was leaping on it, I have to admit that I wasn't terribly desperate to go anywhere near it because of the reputation of YouGov. Had you heard of them?
I had. Like you, I hadn't particularly paid any second thought towards what they were saying. But when it came to Doctor Who, I was just interested about how many people they had asked, the types of questions they had asked, and the categories and the subcategories. Because when you dig into this poll, you can look at various categories, can't you? Gender, age. It's just an insight, isn't it? It's a snapshot. But like you, I've not been this has not been on my radar. It only came onto my radar because they started talking about Doctor Who.
I mean, YouGov is a British-based international market research and data analytics sort of headquarters, isn't it, David? But how much do you know about them? Because you're quite into your stats, aren't you? You are somewhat of a statistician. So what can you tell us about YouGov? How seriously should we take them as an institution, as a body? Because they were only founded in the year 2000, which doesn't sound like that long ago. But then again, 25 years, there's been a lot of changes in that time. Should we take YouGov seriously, firstly, as a thing?
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to Basic Statistics 101. Please have your sleeping bags, Horlicks, and slippers ready.
Now I should put my hoodie on. Jeez.
Right. What a great build up for a really dull section. Right. Yes, you should pay attention to what YouGov say. They are ranked 4th out of 300 of these polling companies in the world. And they are the most accurate pollsters when it comes to the predictions for elections as well. Their sample size for this survey, I believe, was something like 4,300 odd. They are internet based.
Is that more or less than the typical kind of numbers that they would harvest data from?
Oh, vastly more. Vastly more. They are built up of people of different ages, different demographics, different political persuasions, different social classes, different genders. Every possible bit of divisive element you can have, they counter for it. So they can give as much as a true aspect, and then project it across the full population. So YouGov are pretty much, over the last 25 years have become the go-to sort of pollsters and have provided the most accurate sort of data. Polling data and survey data is very contentious because, and this is the boring statistics bit.
Okay. We're with you. We're still with you.
The art of a truly unbiased survey, which is what you want your survey to be, is in the design of the questions and the experiments, in the fact that you are meant to have controlled variables that you can account for. What generally happens then is that you get that control, you get the data you need, and you can present it in a way that can be audited robustly. What a lot of people do is that they don't design the experiment or the survey correctly, or try and phrase their questions to get a sort of response. What I'm talking about there, for people who want to go and visit it very quickly on YouTube after this excellent stream, of course, is the first episode of Yes, Prime Minister, when they're talking about the survey of trying to get people whether or not they want national service to be undertaken. And it's a very, very funny 2-minute piece.
The thing is, David, what the questions that people ask about these kind of surveys and bodies are, and a couple of people have mentioned this in the live chat. Like Sonny Waffle says, most polls are leading and lying. And Dalek Lives Matter says that YouGov is that the lefty ministry of truth. There's a suspicion, particularly if you put the word gov into something. It's that alignment, that association with government tends to mean, particularly in Britain in 2025, in Starmer's Britain, that we're being gaslit, we're being manipulated.
Exactly. And the thing is, I'd much rather it sounds like Regan out of the Sweeney, that sort of gov, like cover them up, love, sort of something like that. But it's got nothing to do with the government whatsoever, and it's an unfortunate name. And what YouGov have to do, because their reputation amongst other pollsters would be shredded, is that if they don't have those robust controls over the variables of their experiments, then they would be out of that top 300 immediately. So their data has to stand up. Of course,
they're held to high international standards. Is that what you're saying?
They are. And because that's why, when it comes to predicting elections, their data is the go-to one. So polling, yes, there is a plus 3-4% margin, plus or minus 3% margin of error, because you're extrapolating for the whole of the country. But from a statistical basis, if your collection of data is fair, if the questions are fair and non-biased and directing people to a certain way, if the experiment is fair, then the data you get should be true. I say should be true, and then the extrapolation, as long as you are using the right extrapolating methods and the analytical methods that you get from that data, should also be of veracity as well.
So, and if they're not, then who is?
Yeah, what then changes is when you release the data to the public, you then get people in the public who think they understand how to interpret the data, misrepresenting the data to other people, if you see what I mean. So if you release it to newspapers,
you mean editorially, sort of, like newspapers and things like that, or individuals and people on. Okay, I see. I see what you mean.
And for a 1, 2, we're going to see the questions anyway in a minute. For a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible questions, the percentages we get from those 6, because it's not binary, it's not 50-50. So the percentages we get from those 6 in some of those categories are fantastically good and high, considering we've split something into 6 different categories. So it's very unlikely that when you do that, you're not going to get more. You're not going to get 50%. If you get 50% in that, you're doing amazing.
Well, I was stunned when I clicked on this, David. I mean, it sounds like when you saw this drop, it sounds like you leapt on it, because it does sound like statistics and Doctor Who, 2 of your favourite things, collide here. And so I've tried to sort of dip my way in. But to be fair to YouGov, they make it pretty easy. The graphics are self-explanatory. And I thought, well, why would they be interested in Doctor Who? But it turns out there's all manner of different polls and surveys on the website, all very easy to find, all in plain English. And it was almost fun, in fact, to look at some of this. I mean, just this graphic here that tracks the fame and popularity of Doctor Who over the last few years. So what it's telling us is that Doctor Who is a very, very known property in Britain. 94% of the population are aware of Doctor Who, but its popularity at present is at 50%.
Absolutely. And what I'll do before we go off air, the very last thing is I'll put that link to the popularity tracker into the live chat, so people.
So this is a constantly running thing. It constantly tracks.
It's done every quarter, and what it will tell you is that the popularity of Doctor Who on the 1st of April 2022, around the time that the Sea Devils monstrosity was transmitted, shows Doctor Who, and all through Jodie's tenure, nonetheless, that was at the lowest point on the 1st of April 2022. The popularity of Doctor Who there was 37%. On the 1st of January, it raised to 50%. So again, that is YouGov basically having a live tracker updated every quarter as to.
So if we think this looks rough, it was considerably rougher in the wake of Whittaker.
Oh, absolutely. You know, they were not a lover of those Sea Devils or Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker's time was absolutely disgustingly bad compared to Shooters.
These are the things we weren't supposed to notice, weren't they, Anthony? We weren't supposed to talk about them. It was self-evident. If you listen to people, anybody you would come into contact with who would mention Doctor Who, and it didn't matter what gender or age they were, everybody fucking hated it.
Yeah. I don't need to be in YouGov to know that. I could have told you that, David, already. Just my gut instinct
to back it up.
Most definitely.
So I think it's easier to open this up with the general points that they were making, wasn't it? It's because it's quite a simple question on the surface. Which Doctor Who TV show do you like more? Simple question. The original Doctor Who show, which ran from 1963 to 1989, my Doctor Who, Charlotte, as I said the other night, my Doctor Who. The current TV show, which they're counting from 2005 to the present day. So there's those 2 options, but they've also got that quota, that set of others, people who like them about the same, who don't like any of it, who simply don't know, have no opinion about it, or people who have never seen either version of the show. So I suppose it's easy to look at the top 2, a straight answer to a straight question. Which on the surface, amongst adults in Britain who responded to this, which show is the most popular? And the classic show does come out as being more popular. Not massively more popular, but noticeably more popular. And for a show that hasn't been technically, by these terms, in production for 3.5 decades, that's quite something.
Yeah, it's sort of, especially as when you think about availability as well, how like it's become more available, thankfully, because of the Blu-rays and the box sets. But for a good chunk of time, you couldn't just watch classic as easy as pretty much the whole time New Who's been about. You could always get the DVDs for New Who and sort of see it on repeats, or sort of the iPlayer when that came along and they put all the New Who there. So for something that's got less exposure in some ways, it's kept more popularity. I think that's quite interesting as well.
Yes, I was surprised. I still believed that the popularity of Doctor Who, of new Doctor Who, from that first 10 years would still carry it to a lead, to have taken that crown. So I was surprised by this. What are your thoughts, Anthony?
I'm just thinking about the scope of the study, so I need to go back to David for clarity on that one, because it's 20% of 4,000 plus adults, isn't it? And I'm also wondering as well, is the age demographic? Gosh, this is deep for 10 to 10 of a Monday, but are older people more like me and you, Dan? Are we more likely to complete a poll? You're welcome.
Yes.
A poll like this than perhaps a younger viewer. I don't know. I just run at this with some kind of circumspection, but I would let David tell me otherwise.
Yeah, they have to be reflective. So what they would do is they would ask the people to complete the survey in a fair manner, so that all age ranges would be represented, and you will see them broken down. Thank you. Next, it's like a pandemic presentation. Next slide, please.
This is the tab. So they presented the information, so you could sift it through in compartments, sort of bracketed into age groups, couldn't you, David? So they've made this very easy for us to find out how popular it is with different age groups.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that doesn't surprise me. So that slide is actually more informative. That doesn't surprise me. That's the difference between the current series and the original series is kind of what you would expect, isn't it? That actually, again, me and you, Dan, are representing the original, whereas perhaps Charlotte and Luke are representing the current Doctor Who. So I'm not surprised by that. Are you?
I mean, obviously, but the saddest, when you look across, obviously from that initial result that we looked at a moment ago, so that is there on the left-hand side, but the other 4 columns move up through the age ranges. I think the one that stands out the most, that's impeding the series in growing, in achieving success, reaching another peak, is the stark fact that nearly 40% of that 18 to 25-year-olds have never even watched it, any of it.
Especially as Russell was so proud how the series had got that age demographic, and that was like the only positive thing he could talk about for ages, it felt like, in interviews, because the viewing figures were so bad. He kept going back to, but we've got this age demographic. And this just shows, no, Russell, you've not captured a younger audience. You've absolutely failed. And that's your killer at the end
also,
of the day.
Charlotte, this points directly back, and I am going to keep kicking them because they're both hapless, and it's a miracle that either of them have still got careers, what they've done to Doctor Who. But this tracks back. The ideal time to get into Doctor Who should be between the age of, say, 8 and 11. So those 18 to 24-year-olds, they would have been between the age of, say, 8 and 11, 12, around the time that Chris Chibnall became showrunner and cast the useless Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who, cast a woman into a male role, and therefore completely shot down the series' popularity and cut off any real appetite there was for boys to continue watching this show. And the girls who were watching as well, girls want the character to be male as well. So this is proof that everything that we've been saying for years.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, that shows like we've been talking about 2005 a lot because of the anniversary. And both me and Luke talked about how we were that young child watching it for the first time, and how they had to convince us because we didn't know. We didn't have that inbuilt love or that inbuilt knowledge yet. It was purely, let's see what the show is then that's on.
And you could justify it, Charlotte, by saying, well, how could they know if they didn't try? But you don't dick around with a property like Doctor Who. You might try a limited edition new flavour of beans where you add, I don't know, a Parmesan cheese to it because it's themed around something, or on Red Nose Day to make the tomato sauce that bit redder to line up. This is a huge international IP. You don't dick around with it like this. You do your market research before, which would have told them that this was the outcome you were going to get nearly 10 years on. But that dickhead had to go and find out the hard way.
Oh yeah, that's what my point is. Like 2005 had quality. It grabbed me at that age. It got Luke. It got a whole generation of people that loved this show. And you need that, like you said, during the Chibnall and Whittaker era, because of how badly everything was done on screen, and because of, I think even if kids don't understand everything when it comes to sort of stunts and gimmicks and that aspect of it, they were picking up at the time of, why have you suddenly changed the Doctor? Why is the Doctor a woman now? And and it's that alienation of like what you're talking about of that younger generation that now they don't have an attachment to the show. They don't want to know about the show. They have no interest in the show.
And rather than addressing it, they're doing things like granting licenses to, as cute as they are, to Fisher Price to make limited edition figures, collector's figures for adults. So it's not being supported by licensees either. I mean, looking at the other data that's on here as well, as much as I'd love to go in on Chris Chibnall for another hour, I'll resist the temptation. But when you look at the other data, it does kind of play out perhaps how one would expect there, Luke. The people who grew up with the classic show are obviously going to recognize it, know it, and have that well of affection, aren't they? And the same in reverse. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? The 25s and ups.
No, not at all. This is going to be a bit of a rant now. Sorry, not at all. But it's
I've done it. You do
it. So recently, me and my missus went away to a log cabin in mid Wales for a break. Ended up filming an episode of Hooligans because I'm a madman, and because I was nice, I treated
your long-suffering partner.
Yeah, because that was nice. I treated us to some classic Doctor Who because she'd never seen it. So she's seen Shooties, so she saw Tennant, she saw Shooties. So I put on Genesis of the Daleks and we watched that, and she was just like, oh, she was like, this is good, and she preferred it to definitely Shooties season. She hasn't seen much of Jodie's as well. But going back to, but this is the classic Who does appeal to everyone. I think the shorter, 25-30 minute cliffhanger, I think it tells a better story. But if you look at the statistics now, and if you look at the way 18 to 24-year-olds consume media, how many 18 to 24-year-olds are going to be sitting around on a Saturday night watching BBC? I don't think so. If you look at the shows like Loki, Acolyte, Andor, the Star Wars, your Marvel shows, they go out on a Disney Plus on a midweek. They go out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and they perform well. And I think the 18 to 24-year-olds are used to flicking through, having a look, see what's on streaming now. I think, So potentially, I think maybe still having Doctor Who. I know it's on iPlayer, but an 18 to 24-year-old isn't going to go on iPlayer. And
see, I'd taken it, Luke, that when they say which one do you like the most, it sort of encompasses wherever they may have found it, and however, whether it's on a catch-up model or through a streaming platform or through traditional TV. I hadn't necessarily tied this. Have I misread that, David? Is this conditional on terrestrial viewings? It's not how I'd viewed it.
No, it won't be conditional on terrestrial viewing. It will be, have you ever seen it?
Because it used to be on, obviously it was on Netflix, then it was on another platform and on another platform. It's more a broader IP question.
Yeah, but I think, but now how people consume media is like an 18 to 24-year-old now is not going to be looking on BBC, or they'll be looking on Netflix or Disney Plus. So if he was on potentially, if he was on in the UK on Disney Plus, I'd go on a limb and say probably perform a little bit better, because that's where people are looking for your latest Marvel show, your latest Star Wars show, or like What We Do in the Shadows.
Sadly, I think you're right.
I think it being on BBC is a bit of an hindrance to the younger audience. The whole thing with Jodie as well. I think they should have gone for the stunt casting, got like Tilda Swinton in, and then went to like a doctor. So maybe you can get used to a female doctor who's a bit androgynous and just a bit more of a gruff. I think that was a little bit of a misstep on Jodie's half. I think season 12 and season 13 was a lot better, but I think it's a little bit too of a jump from shouty old Scottish man to female Matt Smith. I think there's a little bit too much of a shift. Yeah, I think the way people consume media now is just a little bit off. I think Doctor Who might need to move from BBC and actually just go to a streamer full time and just let them have it. And BBC can still license it and still put it out on whenever they want at 7, but instead of putting it on iPlayer, release it on Disney Plus as well. In the UK, potentially. I don't know if people are going to hate me for that, but yeah, that's what I would do. That's where I think we'll get the younger fans in now.
There could be an appetite. I mean, what did you notice about this as a statistician, Dave? Did you find any surprises there in that?
No, not really at all. Or what I particularly liked was that when I saw that figure, my eyes just went 39. That'll be, oh, right, okay. So 6-7 years ago, that will be when, oh, right, yeah. Well, that fits in, doesn't it? And I was really happy and pleased that Charlotte picked up that same thought and ran with it, because that was my first, when I saw the data, I just went, oh, yeah, okay, that says a lot. But by and large, and hopefully we can get to the Wales reveal before Charlotte and Anthony have to go, because they will love that.
Let's look at that then, because we have got it down on territories as well.
As I thought it would be.
Looking at it, so that we have got a breakdown of the British Isles in this regard. London, the rest of the South, the Midlands, the North, and then Scotland and Wales each have their own bracket here, again set against that actual core figure, the general question. They've broken it down. I haven't had too much of a look at this. What's this screaming to you then, David?
It screams to me that the people in Wales need to open their eyes about what goes on in Cardiff. Bear in mind that the Bad Wolf Studios are based there, that they're always filming in damn Cardiff, closing all the streets to film Doctor Who, and they haven't bloody heard of it. Out of all the UK, it's based there, and they haven't got a clue what's going on.
That's nearly a third of responders have never seen any of it. That is quite high.
I think what this is showing, in general, and that is quite amazing. You're right, David, in Wales of all places.
Sorry, Luke.
To be fair, Scotland's not far off. Look,
no,
but I think with Wales it's more telling. But I'd sort of, and this is the overall thing that I took in general, because I do have to go in a minute, is that you can't have a brand have successive bad decisions, successive damage, successive messing, like you said, Dan, with the formula, and not have your consequences. This is your consequences spelled out in black and white for you. That awareness, and that is just general awareness, or it's sort of two things. It's awareness of it, but then it's the want to be awareness as well. It's that I don't want to watch it, I don't have any interest sort of vibe.
Yeah.
That's more damaging because you've put people off for so long with so many bad ideas that even just the idea of trying it is now poisonous. And that's
It's like trying
what,
Dr. Pepper.
yeah, it's sort of that. It's because if you don't have people willing to try your product, what are you going to do? And I think that's what's interesting.
Absolutely.
When people are saying, "Oh, about some people saying, no, but guys, with the trailers, you guys are positive." Yeah, there's a lot of good marketing going on right now, but if the brand overall is damaged, it's not going to do any good. And I think that's what Russell's now going to have to fight.
A decaying brand does give off an aroma that permeates, despite a lot of the things that we're seeing now, and sometimes miracles can happen, obviously, but the odds are against it. The longer that something like that goes on for.
Yeah, so that's what I think. Doctor Who now, it's not just that, it might not be as popular as it used to be. It's actually seen as something you don't want to watch, and you shouldn't even try to watch it. And I think that's what's really sad, that it's got to this stage, honestly. But I can see why. Like I said, lots of bad decisions, lots of idiots in charge, lots of bad actors.
Absolutely.
There's a big difference there between, in the London district, I notice, between those who prefer the classic series to the new, or vice versa. You know, it's a complete swap, really. It switches from 20% to 15 to 16 to 22.
Yeah, and that would say to me that perhaps people in London are more, shall we say,
not British.
No, more probably more people in Islington are watching than they are anywhere else. It's probably more progressive. London's more progressive
because it's a cosmopolitan city, shall we say?
It would be. I would suggest that if you went into real demographics, as YouGov do, then and you know, different social classes like R2D2 or whatever they put, I haven't got a clue. Then you would see that. But the thing is, from my perspective, and what I feel really embarrassing, and I don't want to, I'm not attacking Wales because my daughter's half Welsh. I'm called David. You know, I love daffodils. Okay. We even had Come Rhonda as Bread of Heaven as one of our hymns at our wedding. So you know, I'm well in with the Welsh, but
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah,
let's just. I know that Charlotte and Anthony have both got to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys.
They've both got to go, sadly. But thank you for your company each. See you next time, and I hope this has filled in some blanks for you, Anthony, about why the series is where it is. But let's keep our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night. See you soon.
Bye bye. Yes. So looking across this again, I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't feel any kind of way about this. I'm sure people are being truthful. There are some surprises there, but you know, people are people, aren't they? And things they're bound to be variables, I suppose. It's just that some are more amusing than worrying, I think, here.
For me, if I may just say, is that the worst figure of NA have never seen is in Wales, and Doctor Who. It's a BBC Wales production. There's always a big thing of it being in Wales.
It's a great deal of pride.
In it. And yet almost
that's
third.
Genuine. I've seen it.
Exactly. And almost a third of the people are saying that have completed this survey in Wales. Okay, it might just be a small number, but it would have been checked and representative. But almost a third are saying they are not aware of something that has been done in their backyard for the last 20 years. And that, to me, is really sad and really upsetting, genuinely upsetting.
Doctor Who is...
If you look at it at all, it's like, in terms of those, it's like there were 38 productions from Netflix, HBO, Sky, Marvel, shot in Cardiff last year. If you expect every Welsh person ever to be aware of them and watching them, then you're going to have a bit of a blow. I know loads of people now, that the older generation, that have watched Doctor Who religiously and then got turned off by this season just because they didn't like shooting. They thought it was really childish.
I think it's the interlocking of that with
and a lot of
the institutional nature of Doctor Who.
A lot of the crew that work on Doctor Who are not Welsh. Like it is a fact, even though it is made in Wales. Just because it's made in Wales doesn't mean it's Welsh. Like it is not a lot of the crew, and I know there was some backlash towards Bad Wolf because of it, because there's something that happened with Welsh Gov before with another series that happened when they've got loads of English crew on instead, and they were bringing crew down from London, and this still is the thing. So it's not 100% Welsh crew. It's never going to be 100% Welsh crew. It's never going to happen. But put a rugby ball in it, you might get a bit more views. But I'd like, compared to what the population is like in Wales and what they're interested in, on a Saturday night, Wales is not the most thriving area of the world. I know, I'm from there. I'm from the valleys. Like people in the valleys are only interested in going out and having a drink, and it's not the most affluent area in the world, so they like what they're doing on the Saturday night, and it is an aging population.
The Scots figure is also quite high, and look how many doctors have been Scots now. So maybe we should be we can't be as surprised by one and maybe not the other. Keep Doctor Who British, says Sonny Waffles. Yes, keep it British. I don't think anybody's sort of debated. I think most Americans, Australians, Canadians, and other people that we have on the show, they're all for it remaining British. And I think the Welsh have done a brilliant job with it. I mean, even if it's been staffed by a lot of non-Welsh people, I think the Welsh have done a brilliant job of supporting the brand. Certainly every time I go to Wales, I see a lot of Doctor Who interest, iconography and pride from the people there and retailers, and they really do support it, and they always have, to be fair, for decades, right since the Doctor Who exhibition was in Llangollen. It was okay, it was hardly Alton Towers, but it was a really lovely place, and the poor people, well, the people of Llangollen, they got sort of thrown into that. Not against their will as such, but it must have been, every weekend a consignment of anoraks sort of stumbling around this beautiful place, trying to find the old experience, all with our various trinkets and dressing largely the same or in cosplay. It was amusing. They had to put up with quite a lot. Looking at the graphic here that breaks it down by gender, a little more simply, but this is something as well that people will be looking at with a particularly keen eye, because of course so much of the last 10 years and the nature of the BBC's Equality and Diversity Charter, for one, and the drives in DEI, particularly endorsed even to this day by Disney, so much of that has been around sort of redressing a balance that they felt was lacking in getting their properties to appeal to people of the opposite gender, to get either, generally speaking, to get little girls or girls or females to watch and invest in male brands, although there is some of the reverse in play as well. It mostly only works the one way. And how has this paid off for it? Not really that well, has it? I mean, a large number of women have just never seen Doctor Who. Of any age group, this is as well, David.
Absolutely, and the big thing that got a lot of women watching in the past 20 years,
the
noughties, was the sex appeal of David Tennant and Matt Smith. And that's why a lot of the girls, my mum, God bless her, she fancied a bit of David Tennant and Matt Smith, and she really enjoyed watching them. I know a lot of my friends, female friends, watched Doctor Who because they fancied David Tennant and fancied Matt Smith. Some even fancied Christopher Eccleston, and that for them was a big draw. And when Jodie was cast, it was for them. they just went, I just can't get into it. Peter Capaldi, they sort of drifted away because, he wasn't much of a sex symbol to them.
So the women that liked Peter Capaldi really liked him and do like him, and they get very vocal about it when you suggest that he didn't have that kind of level of appeal, because it really did work for a great number of people.
They lost that sort of teen appeal, if you see what I mean. That next generation of fans who the BBC so badly want to appeal for it to appeal to.
It's a commanding lead in the popularity of the classic show in men over women. But generally speaking, if you look just at the female figure there, they feel largely the same about any Doctor Who now, and don't seem to recognise much of a distinction really between the classic series and the new. It seems to be all the same to them. Maybe it's just drifted into that sort of it's just geeky, nerdy bullshit that my ex-boyfriend used to like, therefore I avoid it like the plague kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was saying about the last slide is that I forgot to say, but I want to add on now, is that figure for Wales being as it was started to make me sort of doubt the poll in a way, because of all the publicity and all the publicity and exposure that has been in Wales over the last 20 years of the programme. So, more, because it goes back to 2003 when they actually started working on it. So that made me doubt some of the data, but then I haven't seen the workings out. But this is as I would have expected, actually, the gender poll with respect to the current Doctor Who TV show to be higher for women than for men. Actually,
Star Whovian we've got a comment here from Star Whovian in the live chat. It's a brilliant name. I'd love to see the results of a gender poll on the show's audience since 2018 and now. I'd be willing to bet it's a majority female. I'm not seeing any indicator of that.
No. I would have expected to see it, but that as a result of the last 7 years, that it would be probably higher with respect to women. But because David Tennant came back, of course, for those 3 specials, so that that may have been a sort of, let's try and recreate the old sex appeal. But again, I'm not surprised by those figures at all whatsoever.
Luke, how do you feel about this? I mean, is this something that surprises you in any way?
No, not really. It's really not. I think it's David Tennant and Matt Smith are known as the sex symbols of Doctor Who in a way, aren't they? And massive, especially out in America, where Matt Smith just absolutely exploded, didn't he? And to be fair, I know it is predominantly a male show, and I know because obviously when we put Hooligans up, which is Doctor Who based, the majority of the viewers that view that are male. But if you look now, I'd say I'd be inclined to say the female is up there realistically, and I think that's what the Chody era did bring over. It is the little girl looking up to someone now, which to be fair, it is a good
but on the
thing.
evidence of this poll, that hasn't actually happened though.
Yeah, which it's like, even if you just scroll through TikTok, go to a convention, it is predominantly, it's either older male or younger female. It's a very middling ground. It's very.
Ian Diaz has said the similar thing. To be fair,
yeah, absolutely. So I think, especially, you would have thought as well with Shooty Gatwa coming in off the back of Sex Education, then it would have brought in even more, and especially with the younger crowd as well. It would have brought even more with him, but which I'm very, very surprised at. Very, very surprised at, to be fair. So maybe the Shooty thing didn't work.
it's not working so far. I mean, I think that most people wouldn't be able to pick him out of a bus queue, and when you consider the things that he wears, that's pretty. It's a miracle in itself. Yeah,
I quite like his coat today. I quite like his coat. So.
I like the coat, sort of, without the string. I like some of the things, like some of the outfits that he wears. I look at the clothes and I think, oh, I like that shirt. I like them on their own, but all put together. I don't like the ensembles, the way. That's what I don't feel. That's what I don't understand. I think, what is he? When somebody says he's got dressed in the dark, or that's how it looks. Like, oh well, whatever.
He needs supervising when it comes to putting clothes on. He needs supervising.
Probably has that. They got the Disney money. They probably have that already. So you never know.
Yeah, it's very, very peculiar indeed. We do have a list broken down as well by people's political beliefs, which I don't want to hang on for too long because we're not really a political, a party politics show. But it's amusing, I suppose, to look at this and to clock certain factors here. The show does seem to be more. The classic series is a lot more popular. Well, it's an inverse again, isn't it? Looking at the Conservative and Labour, that's those leanings, it's a virtual flip on the classic and the new. So people who count themselves to be Conservative prefer the classic show, and people who are Labour support Labour. It's roughly the same flip. More of them new Who people, because most lefties do tend to be younger people, and people obviously when they grow up and realise that the left's ideas are shit, they go to the right. But that's kind of how it works. So I'm not surprised to see that balance. They'd extend it to include the Lib Dems and Reform as well. Obviously, to one party that's been around for a very long time, another party that's been around for a couple of years. Yeah, but nobody, it's a very new party. So I'm not really sure what to make of that, but. This kind of goes pretty much as I would have expected, David. Anything you have to add on it?
No, let me speak. You see, we much preferred it when the Doctor was on Earth in one location and people came to visit him and then he could take them away again. So
the man for the ministry kind of thing.
Yes. Sorry, that was my poor Farage.
There is meant to be at the houses. There is meant to be at the Houses of Parliament, or there was a Doctor Who club where members could go and watch Doctor Who if they'd got downtime. I mean, and I think that was a cross-party thing as well. So it would actually be like a social thing because a lot of these people, even though they pretend they don't like one another and don't get on, most of them do. If you see the footage of them when they think we're not looking, there they are, sort of giving each other secret handshakes, slapping one another on the back. There's a certain degree of pantomime to it, and a great deal of them apparently do love Doctor Who.
Yes, they do. And what that says to me is that the Conservatives and Reform and Conservatives would prefer everything was better in the 1980s, of course.
I can say that Reform figures high.
60s. So that doesn't surprise me. And look, I am saying this very tongue in cheek. Okay, so please don't go on at me in the live chat. I am very. This is my tongue is very in my cheek when I say this. So obviously everything was better in the old days for those on the Conservatives and Young and Reform. What I would say is that obviously all the new stuff is rubbish. So your more moderate left wing or left of centre will appreciate the move to new diverse Doctor Who, which is represented in the 2005 to present. And I just giggled.
Is it more than that, though, David? Though, is it the fact that the show is, as Anthony was saying earlier on, that this more dynamic sort of flavour of programming? It's a less relaxed program, rather than anything to do with demographics or anything. Could it be simple tastes?
It could be simple taste, but
preferring
also,
cricket to football, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, what that doesn't tell us is the age of the Conservative Labour
see what you mean.
supporters. So I'm very much hypothesizing here with a wet finger in the air. I I'm just sort of trying to guess, but one would expect the more left-leaning parties to prefer the more progressive stories.
Yeah.
However, there were some pretty progressive stories in the 70s and 80s. You mentioned the Monster of Peladon, all about the miners' strike last week, which still bores me to tears. But
bloody awful.
You know, that was Ted Heath versus the miners. So one would expect those stories to hit harder or hit better with those people who are more progressive with respect to politics. So those figures, without seeing the age breakdown and the gender breakdowns of those specific supporters of those political parties, it doesn't. You know, you might as well had, as you said, do you like football? Do you like cricket? What football team do you support? You know, do you like Man City, Man United, Lincoln City? Well, there's only one who does for that. But you know, it's about as meaningful as that. So it doesn't really tell you anything.
Yeah, take it all with a pinch of salt, everybody. Okay, yeah. So just to go back at that general figure and the broader question again, which Doctor Who TV show do you like more? The original TV show, the classic series, as we call it, that ran from 63 through to 89 there, starring that fabulous selection of actors. I think we expand it to include Paul McGann, don't we? Whether he wants to be or not. So the classic series or the new series as kicked off in 2005 there with Christopher Eccleston and running to the present day for the purposes of this argument. And the results courtesy of this YouGov poll, which by David's, I take what you say seriously, David. You are the governor when it comes to this sort of thing. If you say that this is to be taken seriously and accurate, then I'll take this. So this is what we've gleaned from it, that 20%, where are we? 20% come out saying that, the classic series is their favourite. 15% go with the current production. I do wonder where this would have been had they been polled in 2013, Luke, when the show was still riding the crest of a wave. And obviously my hopes would be that somehow this can be inverted, and I don't, but we have to hope. We have to hope. So it is sort of around about what I expected. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this data will go anywhere, either of you? Do you think, David, the BBC will be aware of this? Because the government do work with YouGov, don't they? On some things, the BBC is also an institution, social media being the way that it is, and all of this being plastered all over X and Instagram, I understand. Do you think this could make its way to the BBC or even to Bad Wolf, Luke? I mean, that's a good point, Luke. Should Bad Wolf, BBC Studios, Disney, anybody involved look at this, or is it a curiosity rather than an actual of any practical purpose?
I'll just text someone there and find out. But it's such a weird. Sorry, dude, but it's such a weird time to. Also, why are the government doing a poll on this as well? Surely there's more pressing things going on than.
It's not related to the government at all.
Oh well, why are YouGov doing this? It's such a weird thing to be.
I thought it was strange as well. I must admit.
It's like, do you like
Doctor Who? Amusing?
It seems a bit. The series is coming out. Let's put the publicity machine behind it. Let's not do any stupid polls for no reason. Look, I don't read too much into this. It's like I got brought up. I 2005 onwards is my era. More or less all the stuff I own is primarily classic series stuff. I love the new series. Don't get me wrong. I think from 20. I love it all, to be fair. But the classic is predominantly where I live and what I breathe. But I don't read too much into these YouGov polls. You see them come off and around all the time when someone's winning this or someone's winning that, and then you turn around and all of a sudden we've left the EU, and it's just like, okay, cool.
What I'm inclined to come away from this with, actually, in all seriousness, David, is that just as there is in the Houses of Parliament, there's probably a collection of Doctor Who fans who work at YouGov and who were waiting for the right time to maybe put out a poll like this and have a bit of fun, either to satisfy their curiosity or just to celebrate the show a little bit, to get it talked about, to play it into people's feeds, and maybe, as Luke said, kind of perhaps help publicize the show, bolster it a little. What do you think the impetus was behind this?
I think we've got a new series coming. Since the Christmas special, there's been a lot of chat about whether or not a new series is going to come along, whether it's going to have a rest, whether it's going to have a cancel. YouGov obviously like to keep their name in the press. They like to get a bit of free advertising. So why not have a little survey to see what people think about Doctor Who? It'll get us some clicks, get us a bit of exposure. It'll be our poll. So we can get quite a lot of publicity out of this and maybe stir the pot a little bit. I actually think it's more of an advert for YouGov than it actually is for anything else. Personally,
Yeah.
it's a marketing ploy. It's, hey, look, everybody, we do surveys, we do polls, we do this. Why not use our survey? And they may have been. The thing is, they may have been doing this in the background with their with their members in order to get the percentage popularity over the last 5 years. It's just now at the moment, Doctor Who has become a hot topic in the media about its future. So, it was Doctor Who.tv that broke this initially, and then a number of other media outlets picked up on it.
Yeah, very popular Doctor Who site, doctorwho.tv, yeah.
Yeah, and so, blimey, okay, they banded around some very interesting percentages, and I was just reading it, so I can't read this because it's anti-science to my head. So, and that's what got my interest in it. I'm just thinking, well, rather than look at the Doctor Who TV article, I'm going to look at this information for myself.
I always go right back to the data when a story like this breaks. When there's an interview, I go back to the proper source of the actual quote rather than a snippet of it that's been heavily editorialized. Always best to go back to the source. And as you say, if they're tracking its popularity all the time, it's amusing maybe to have it bookmarked for a rainy day. I don't know. Here, according to them, the fame tally for Doctor Who, generally all of Doctor Who, is up at 94%. 94% of the British population are aware of Doctor Who, but 50% of them, it's only popular with 50% of them, actively disliked by 20% of them. But there's more people who couldn't give a you-know-what. Doctor Who is logging there at, in terms of popularity, according to this, at number 40 in popularity of current contemporary TV shows. So it's peers on terrestrial television, maybe. I don't know. What would they judge as contemporary? That probably would be broadcast TV, I'd say, rather than anything on the streamer. Just behind Grand Designs, believe it or not, but ahead of the old Warhorse, the Antiques Roadshow. I'm not sure how well the Antiques Roadshow or Grand Designs would do on Christmas Day, and Doctor Who did quite well this year on Christmas Day. But then again, there are other factors, I suppose, that play into that. I won't get too defensive about our show there. So what I'd like to know from everybody out there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, what do you make of all of this? Could the upcoming season turn any of this around and reach somebody? But more to the point, were you aware of this poll, of this survey? Did you take part in the poll? Are you surprised by the results? What have you noticed? And will you be bookmarking YouGov in future and maybe revisiting these figures, keeping track of whatever it is that they're tracking as Doctor Who's fortunes continue to peak and to valley? There's a new season on the way in a week and a half's time, of course. Might be fun to go back and check in then. In fact, depending on how episode 8 plays out, if there's any enormous dogs sat on top of the TARDIS, or the equivalent of when the curtain closes this time. We'll be here watching just as avidly as you lot.
Hello, I'm Philip Roy playing the Doctor in the Doctor Who fan film Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. I've been on quite an adventure, and this is most definitely the Type 40 podcast.
Thanks, Phil. Yes, we did it again. We made it, everybody, to the conclusion of yet another show here at Type 40 Live. What a subject, what a survey, what a poll, what a story. Yeah, I didn't relish the prospect of covering that. I have to be honest. It's not really my thing. I'm not a data guy. Are you, Luke? Is that the kind of thing that you'd be all over? Are you a stats guy in the way that David is?
Not really. I just turn up, watch, enjoy, complain. Pretty much. I really enjoyed 99% of this episode, but that logo was a PNG. I'm not happy. No, stuff like polls and stuff like that. Cool. It doesn't bother me at all. I know it is warranted and it is needed, especially for when you look at that
Market
stuff.
Research is important, isn't it?
And for renewals and stuff, and numbers do play a big part of my life. Like I'm a podcast producer. I produce Man City, Man United, so the numbers do mean stuff to me. But in terms of like TV and YouGov polls and stuff like this, I'm just like, cool. I was like, because if anything comes out, Russell and the BBC just going to rebuff this. I'll be like, well, they only surveyed 4,000 people, blah, 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 blah. It can, the BBC will either ignore it or just rebuff it in a throwaway comment or just completely ignore it.
They'll be assembling a rebuttal or a statement, which will be something but nothing. And
well, we did a Doctor Who poll tonight at the premiere and everyone loved it. It's like, oh, cool. Nice. Thanks. It'll be one of those type of vibes. So.
Yeah, I know somebody who was at the last one.
It's not for me. Yeah, it's warranted and needed, but it's not for me.
Sonny Waffles says in the live chat there, polls aren't pointless. Sometimes it's the only way to get data, like politics. But if the tool doesn't fit the job, you look stupid. David, thank you so much for making sense of some of that, for putting it into perspective, and for selling me on the how can I put this? The authenticity and the value in the things that YouGov do. Because sincerely, I've heard them be the butt of so many jokes, but that doesn't necessarily. I've laughed along. I thought, well, okay, what do I actually know about them? And it turns out it wasn't a great deal. So thank you.
No, it's absolutely fine, and there are other polling agencies available, obviously, but I'm not a representative. I'm not on the payroll. I'm not getting a bung. Don't worry. I'm not getting a Little People's doll's house or garage out of them, but all the Little People Doctor Who figures. But I just wanted to. Sorry, it's an unbelievably dull subject, and I just wanted to try and brighten it up and enliven it a little bit and make it a bit more accessible for people to go. It's okay, don't worry about it, but it's been an absolute pleasure to come on and not be boring for once. So thank you about data.
I don't think it is a dull subject at all. I spoke about it. It was very, very, very articulate and how it come across. So I don't think it is a boring subject, and it is something that needs to be talked about. I think the timing of it is very, very strange, and it seemed a little bit unwarranted at times.
I'll go with that.
Unless it's to come out with Russell being like, oh well, we've got every under 35 watching it, and they're just like, well, actually, not really. You're a liar.
Yeah.
So,
as always, let us know what you think of the YouGov poll, of the new trailer and the new posters of the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break of the little people. No, not the little people. I mean the little people that Fisher Price. Nobody's coming around to probe you. The little people that Fisher Price make. Are you smitten by them, and are you looking forward to the autumn when you may be able to get your hands on one of those limited edition sets? And what of the revelation that TARDIS set is still standing after all, as we believed it was, to be fair. But what do you think about the story and how things like that do sort of gather momentum? Let us know, as ever, through our social media, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. Come and join us in the Type 40 Facebook group there. You can start a whole other argument if there isn't one there that piques your interest, that takes your fancy. Square up to whoever, including me. I'm over there, so come and start an argument with me by all means. You can do all that if you join us in the Type 40 Facebook group. Alternatively, you can leave us a message on SpeakPipe. This is new for 2025 across the podcasts and videos. You can be part of Type 40 from the palm of your hand. Record us a message, a question, a prediction, any feedback whatsoever, whether it's about the poll or anything else like that. Doctor Who is on its way back to the television, everybody. We're getting logos and posters and trailers and new outfits, both on and off screen. So much to take in. I think we're going to need a rest for a couple of days. I'll say a rest. I'm going to go and run around this thing the next couple of days and burn off some energy. Again, David, thank you so much for your company on this edition of the show. We've recorded some more videos, haven't we, you and I, that we're going to be putting out in the not too distant future, but we can't disclose what those are about, but we've been having fun too. So I do hope that you'll be tempted to come back on the live show at some point in the near future.
If you'll have me, I'll be here. So thank you so much.
And
thank you to all in the live chat for not falling asleep whilst I was talking about numbers. I really appreciate that. So thank you. 3 years of a degree were not wasted. So thank you.
My gratitude and affection, as always, to both Anthony Weiner and Charlotte Shields, both tucked up separately. We have to stipulate after last week. Yes, again, poor girl. She's been talking about it on Thursday. I think Anthony found it amusing as well. Yes, so yes, thank you to the both of you. As always, we'll see them again soon. And Luke Walters, as ever, you've been a great addition to these shows over the last few weeks, mate. You're such a great sport with your own definite sense of humour. And people have been getting to know you a lot over the last month or so. So we're happy to have you for as long as you want to be involved. Thanks again.
People just think I'm Russell T Davis in a sardine mask. That's all the comments is. That's all it is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, people just assume I'm Russell. It's sort of like, oh, okay, cool, because it's brilliant, and all that. I only yesterday I listened to Russell and David's podcast, actually, funnily enough. So I finally got around to it. So thank you, Rami. It's always a pleasure. And cheers for coming on, David. It's been good to chat some numbers.
More numbers, no doubt, in the near future. With new episodes come new ratings, and we all know how much the Doctor Who community loves those. There'll be lots more hot takes, cold shoulders, pet peeves, bouquets, and pot shots on the next Type 40 Live, as always. So don't miss that. Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. as ever. I'm going to park it right here for the next couple of days. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.
Good night, all.